until we have board roll elections, I'm running the show. So, gonna call the meeting to order at 6:31 and then when you're ready, I'm gonna do a quick roll call. Rivka, are you here?
I am.
Look at that. Tim,
Present.
Kelly,
Present.
Doug.
Yep.
And Becky.
Here.
Okay, everybody's here. Review and approval of the minutes and the agenda. I know we usually do both those at the same time.
I make a motion to approve the minutes and the agenda as presented.
Do you say minutes and agenda or just
Mhm.
minutes?
Yep.
Support?
Good, support. All right. How do we vote?
Discussion.
Discussion? Anything?
Yes, and jumped out to me.
All good?
Mhm.
All right. How do we vote?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Agenda and minutes are passed. Any public comments? We do have a member of the public here. She's gonna give a presentation in a few minutes. Anyone else? Anyone online?
Just Annalise.
All right, on to board reports, partner reports. You have them all in your packet. We also have Ibrahim here with his report. I don't know, do you want to just give a quick 2-minute update on what you guys have been up to?
Oh, that's right. That's perfect.
I think it's been a few months since we've seen it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think probably October. So this would be like comprehensive from like then to now, but it's kind of just a summary of everything. But right now, our main focus for this quarter is planning and improving contracts for Equip. CSP is coming up next, but right now, up until the end of this month, we'll be focused on Equip for ranking, assessing, and CSP will probably be shortly after. Just a quick summary of the Farm Bill program, like applications for this year. Fiscal year 26 for Equip, we have 23 applications. CSP, we had about 6. A little bit lower than last year, but I mean, it's still going, so that's fine. Payments to farmers for CSP, it's been about 115,000 payments from, I guess, the last time I've been here up until now. So I will say most of those payments are coming from annual payments just for being in the program, but some of those practices are things like field borders, brush management, cover crops. So things are kind of moving along. I know it's kind of different as far as no staff, but it's still working. Things are still moving along. Payments to farmers for Equip is roughly 53,000. Our main chunk of, I guess, this fund is coming from waste storage, cover crops, and again, soil testing and forest stand improvement. Events and meetings, as far as NRCS, it hasn't been like actual meetings, but we had a privilege to come to Cultivating Resilience and I guess the annual meeting. That was pretty nice, honestly. So site visit highlights. Right now, the only site visit that we're doing is CSP and Equip field verifications. Just going out to see if those applications meet or kind of are eligible for our programs. And those are kind of going on from then up until now and still going up until, I believe, the end of, I say, October. Trainings, NRCS had a soil health training back in February, also a program rollout training, organic producers training, and a regen pilot program training. I will say the RPP regen pilot program, that's like a new program for NRCS, but we have just one application for that, and I don't think they'll be eligible for that program right now. So hopefully next year we'll get more, but as of right now, it's just kind of none. So next year I'll probably try harder to outreach for that program in general. Goals for the upcoming month. Really my main goal right now is just submitting rankings and assessments for Equip applications. I do want to get these out the way kind of ahead of time and make sure that I kind of set the applications or the applicants in the right spot to get funded for this year. With it being 23 applications, I do want to see at least half of those go through and get funded. And I guess shortly after I work on CSP. Another goal, a big goal, there's a lot of practices out there planned for EQIP and CSP that are due or planned or scheduled for right now, May, really this whole summer. But the thing is, some of them are probably not going to get completed or needs to be modified. That's my main goal right now, is trying to either certify those practices or complete modifications for those practices. There was a section on here that I used to go over asking about, was there any resources needed from the board at this time? I kind of just left it out because I usually don't really need any resources or anything, so that's pretty much it.
You don't need money. Most people need money.
Man, I think we got enough right now.
Any questions from the board?
Did you say you didn't have any eligible applicants for regen or just nobody applied?
Not eligible for regen. Somebody applied, but that one person wasn't eligible. Came to some type of issue with FSA and NRCS. It's a different issue, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It sounded like, I don't know.
yeah, it's a little different. I was kind of hoping they were going to be eligible, but like a week before eligibility, they were, I guess, got a call about just something different. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we have, obviously with like the CTAP program and some of our other programs, regen is getting more and more popular at the state level too. And so hopefully that'll kind of push people toward that program too.
Yep.
That's the goal for sure. Any questions from the board about the board reports from staff or my report? I could certainly give you a summary if you want one, but we have a lot of business too, so.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to bring up was I saw that Tracy said that we needed more farmers invited to the farm field days. And I was just gonna say, make sure you send that to Amber because she can put it on the website. And I would also say send it to Jill at My Farm Link because she may she may be able to post it like on their social media and stuff as well.
I have a calendar now too.
Yep.
I should know this, but do we have other dates established for all those already? The field days to which?
Oh,
Tracy,
not
what is this?
officially yet. No, those are, yeah, did you have any specific? These are summer series.
Okay,
It's gonna be, I was kind of waiting until after tree sales over to justify
okay, I
those.
was just curious. Like, yeah, I just want to, we didn't narrow it. Okay.
Yeah, we've gotten like timelines-ish, but yeah, we need to confirm dates on applications.
Okey-dokey. I didn't have any questions. I reviewed them, didn't have any questions.
Everybody's been busy.
Yep.
All right. We have a guest speaker here today to talk about the 2026 Parks Millage proposal. Kelly Rice from the Ottawa County Parks and Recreation Commission.
Yeah.
Come on up.
Super. Where's best to stand? Wherever. I would like to be able to see this slide. Are you guys okay?
This room is not super like public presentation friendly, yeah.
Yes,
Whatever
okay.
those is
We're
work.
fancy, Kelly.
All right.
Do whatever feels good. for both of
Gotcha.
us.
So yeah, thanks, Ben. And I'll try not to take too much of your time. I know a lot of you, but my name's Kelly Rice, as Ben said, and I've been on the Ottawa County Parks and Recreation Commission for 11 years. So that's equivalent to the Parks Board. So I'm not actually employed by Parks. But what I just wanted to hopefully talk to you about for just a couple minutes today is the upcoming 2026 Parks and Open Space Millage, which is our bread and butter, and pretty much the Parks Department doesn't exist without the millage because that's where we get the vast majority of our money. So what we're recommending is a 0.53 mil for 10 years. Right now, we've operated the last two 10-year cycles at 0.33. So this is a 2.2 mil increase. And then this slide kind of says it'll allow us to maintain our existing parks, support growing use and the population in Ottawa County, protect natural areas and do a lot more stewardship work on those, and then keep the parks accessible and affordable as well. So you're probably like, well, why are you here? I don't. So what I wanted to explain is I think Ottawa County Parks and the Ottawa Conservation District have a lot of synergies and a lot of shared priorities and a lot of facets across the county. And I'm just trying to list a couple of these here. park staff and conservation district staff have done, I would say, even more collaboration on a lot of these issues. I won't go over all of these because you guys probably live it every day. But some of these initiatives that are really important, you guys helping were really a big push. It was awesome that you guys had a table at the Connected County Parks event last weekend that had a couple hundred people, if not more, attending. And so it was awesome to have people there participating in that. I know, and with some of these issues too, Neely, a lot of you know Neely, who's our coordinator of natural resources management, and having Muriel and Sarah and Ben on our new Ottawa County Parks Working Advisory Group. It's kind of a work group where parks can kind of bring in some experts on different different topics and entities from across the county and kind of brainstorm on tackling these things collectively and collaboratively. So we can, all gain in some really great shared technical knowledge that both entities have. And I'm so sorry I got really sick the week before your guys' annual meeting, so I wasn't there. But, just throwing up there, I know Parks was incredibly honored to be named the Conservation Partner of the Year by the Conservation District as well. So, as we go through this today, I guess just ultimately, I think what we're going to some of our partners and entities with kind of shared priorities and objectives, and see if ultimately we can get letters of support from these entities for the parks millage, or that we can say, we have other people that are supporting where we're going with the 0.53 rate. So, and a couple of these coming slides will kind of outline this a little bit. So you can see in 87, we started in 86, 87 with a few parks, and now we're up to 42 parks that we've grown to, and started with 400 acres, and now we're managing over 7,700 acres. So and we've also seen a 63% population growth at the same time. So there's a lot more demands. People are wanting a few more upgrades, additional acreage, that kind of thing. So this has a lot on it. We aren't going to go over all these numbers, but what I just wanted to mention is that Parks actually went through the first department-wide strategic plan for the last 2 years. And what we did during that time is did a lot of community outreach, knowing that the millage was coming up, and we were trying to, the strategic plan are what do people in Ottawa County want, and what do they expect out of the Parks Department? So all the numbers on the left were a reflection of a scientific survey that we did. So it wasn't just parks users, because sometimes parks users go, yay, parks, everybody but we're like, well, what does everybody across Ottawa County think? Even people who don't use parks. So that's what a lot of these numbers are for. So 87.5% of this was the scientific polling said that they wanted parks to be a leadership in natural resources management, outdoor education and programming, protecting and conserving natural features. So there were some pretty high percentage rates related to conservation and a lot of conservation initiatives. And even not over 90, or actually at 90%, people said they have been to an Ottawa County park in the last year, which was really a great number to see. So at the bottom left there, those are our 5 new core initiatives that came out of our strategic planning process. Not that we weren't doing them before, but it was just a little bit more outlined and specified at that time. So right now we're at 0.33 and 0.53. So park staff has actually spent a lot of time and hundreds of hours running through what that funding level can get us and where it can take us in the next 10 years. So if we got a renewal at 0.33, we could probably maintain what we have, which would include, some upgrades that need to, not upgrades, but like renovation of aging facilities. So just replacing what's there, doing some continued programming, and just kind of being reactive to things. But it's not going to allow us to do what the public told us in the surveys that they wanted us to do with, new regional trail connections, or expanding outdoor and conservation programming for people, or making the parks more accessible. That's one thing we're hearing a lot is, these sand trails, they're great, but, you can't take moms with strollers or, you know, your 93-year-old mother-in-law out, you know, it's just, we got to have some areas with some better accessibility for people, location-wise and facility-wise. So I won't go through all of this, but this is just showing what we've done is put in these 5 buckets, these 5 strategies, there's different projects. So for 10 years, if at the 0.53 mill rate, we'd have about 22 projects at 11 million for community engagement and programming. So it kind of shows you a little bit of an outline of where the 0.53 will get you. And Ben has this, if anyone wants copies of this information later for reference, they can feel free to get that from him. So that's what all of these 5 are showing. And then another effort that Parks went through is trying to identify, you know, let's not make sure that all the money doesn't, or, you know, 90% of the funding doesn't go to Grand Haven or Holland or, you know, along the Grand River. And so really making a concerted effort to spread out these projects and new initiatives and so forth all around the county. So this just kind of shows a breakdown of how we look to make sure, you know, all the different regions of the county were getting stuff. And then you can see on the top at this 0.33, it's really not anything new at all. It's just maintaining and trying to maintain what we have. So, but the rest is a breakdown for what else. And then this is just kind of an illustration to show what it would approximately cost residents. So it's hard to do this because you have, you know, taxable value and home value and the median, everybody's a little different. So if you wanted to know what you would pay, it would actually, we have a calculator on our yesforocparks.org website to see what you would actually pay. But most people that have like a $400,000 market value home would pay about $68 a year if the 0.53 mils rate was passed. So it's just kind of showing it's really kind of not a huge dollar amount for a lot of folks per year to keep the, you know, the parks low cost. If this doesn't pass, we're probably going to be looking at increasing like user fees at different areas. You know, right now we're trying to keep as much accessible and free or low cost as possible so people can get out into nature and have those conservation experiences. But if we don't, it's just kind of the nature of the beast that maybe some costs are going to start going up for some of the members of the public that kind of need it the most. So I just wanted to keep it very brief today, and I'm certainly willing to take questions. If anyone has any, yeah.
Is the 33 mandated or is that voted in also?
No, that's voted in also.
So what happens if that goes down? Somebody thought about that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, there is a reserve. The Parks maintains a reserve fund. So like a minimum fund balance, I shouldn't say a reserve, but a minimum fund balance. So it could get you through about a year of very minimum operating costs for the following year while another game plan was developed.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be like all the doors shut, you know, the day that the vote doesn't pass.
Okay, and then my next question is you itemized it per household, but what is that in total for Ottawa County? What is a 0.2 mil increase generate?
That number exists. I should know that off the top of my head.
I don't know if it was on any of your other sides.
What's that?
Was it in any of your other slides?
Totals.
Oh, yeah, total,
I saw one that said, was it like $400,000 annually? Or was that something else?
no, it's more.
Valuation, 63% increase, that's a
It
lot of
might
money.
be on that.
That total,
It's a big number
Total.
on our total tax.
Yeah.
Whole county, because I used to look at that.
That's a big
yeah,
chunk
that
of
was in
change.
that total.
Yeah, is that millions or is that? That's
Millions.
20 millions? Is that, what is that?
It's probably single digits of millions. I'm just
Per
totally shooting
year?
from the hip on the last time I looked at a very tiny millage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the budget right now?
Cause that's for 10 years. So if it's 37 million over 10 years, it's roughly 3.7 million.
Right now we get about, our total revenue is about 18 to 19 million a year. That's from everything. That's not just millage dollars. So millage dollars last year was about 5 million. So I guess if you took that, so maybe it would be about 7 million a year
Total.
from the millage.
Yeah, total. So you want to increase 7 million, you increase 2.
Mhm.
Right, whatever that percentage, right, correct. Right, so right now.
After 7,000 acres, it ain't that much.
So. And just a couple of things to point out too, that I thought this group might be interested in. So. It's a lot. I don't want to get into too much detail, but every 5 years, Parks comes up with a 5-year parks plan. And in that it lists, and you have to do that in the state of Michigan to be eligible for grants for the different projects. And in that, so there's a whole list in the back of that of potential projects that could come down the pipe in the next 5 years, let's say. And that a lot of that is used to justify and support the 0.33 and 0.53 as like which of these projects could we get done for those dollar amounts. And there is one that's actually really almost, I'm going to say top priority, that if the 0.53 mils gets passed, is conducting a feasibility study for conservation easements, and like a conservation millage, and to doing a feasibility study that would include lands like park lands and natural spaces as well as ag lands. So I can see that getting a lot of, having a lot of synergy with this group as well, to conduct that feasibility study. I think right now it's ballparked. Of course, this is all just big picture planning, but about 2028, if this millage passes at the high rate, to conduct that feasibility study. And of course, what that would pull in, partners and other departments at the county and that kind of thing, to see if there would be, an appetite or what that would look like, because Parks doesn't intend to keep buying and buying and buying property. It's looking at other options like conservation easements, which, we do all know plenty about, but so there's that option that just looking at too. Yeah.
Why would the Parks Department want to purchase a property that nobody will ever use? And I'm going to refer to one specific property right behind some property I own. It's called the Marne Bog.
Oh,
The bike trail goes right by it,
mhm.
but it's just mosquito land is all it is.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind is going to walk out in the middle of Marne Bog.
I don't know the
Why do we
history
own
of
it?
how we came across. Well, yeah, I don't think we went out and bought that property.
Oh yeah, you bought it.
Did we?
You bought it.
I know they've had it for years. So, I mean, it was earmarked as a pretty high quality bog from our previous.
What's high quality about it?
sources. Probably the plant.
It grows
community.
big mosquitoes. Is that what you're after?
No,
The flood
but they're part of
storage.
an ecosystem.
The flood storage.
Ecological diversity.
Yeah.
Native
So,
plants.
yeah, I mean, that's why it is called a bog, but it is considered a higher quality natural community. So, and that's kind of part of the park's mission too, is to try to preserve some of the higher quality properties. But right now, I can tell you probably if that wasn't on a greenway, and wasn't part of connecting something, it probably would not be a target for parks, unless it was some kind of a really rare, high quality, only one that exists in the county. Because that's not really the way that Parks is going right now.
Thank you.
So.
So I have a question about what this would mean for other partnerships, either potential for, I know some conservation districts have done cooperative villages, for example, with like county parks or other things like that, and work together on a millage that impact both
Right.
organizations, or obviously things like, MOUs or service support, or, what possibility do you see for Ottawa Conservation District to be able to provide, as a contract entity, some of the support for specialists that you may need in native plants or in watershed technicians or things like that, rather than
Yeah.
hiring outside to random
Oh, absolutely.
groups.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see that as could be a very real possibility. Because another effort, I know a lot of you are aware, but if the 0.53 passes, is to really push. I know a lot of you probably been out to Eastonville Farm. That's off of, what is that, 60th? And yeah, Leonard right there. Maybe creating some kind of almost like a conservation center that has space and like workspace and stuff like that. But I really see that being open to a lot of partners, whether it's maybe shared space, maybe shared equipment. Of course, all those details would have to get worked out, but do we teach people how to do things on their own land? They talked about doing some, ag BMP demonstration sites out there down the road, but obviously, that having partners like the Conservation District could be a huge asset for that, I would think for sure, because, you guys have more of that knowledge than park staff does. So expanding those partnerships would be huge.
We've been having that conversation on several of the like meetings and the committees that we go to,
Good.
especially Tracy and I, in terms of like some of the
Awesome.
native plant program and possible funding for
Yeah.
her. So those
Perfect.
conversations are definitely happening.
Perfect. And what other funding sources does the parks have right now outside of the millage?
So right now it's about half millage and half grants. So I think park staff is actually pretty good at leveraging the millage dollars into grants. So like I looked at the 2025 numbers and I think it was about, I don't know, 5 million-ish for millage and about 5 million for grants. Also comes from, get a lot from private donations. So we have the Parks Foundation, and also during some of the land transactions, the landowners will donate value of their property, which can count as kind of a revenue as well. But those are the bigger pots. Those 4 sources, I think, are the big, and then there's a couple other smaller.
So like rentals, permits, program fees.
Yeah,
Service.
yeah,
is it
rentals, sorry, like.
Negligible then? They wouldn't even like move the needle in your whole budget?
The rental, let's see, I think I might have actually jotted down how much I think the rental, we do have some facilities that get rented out is about 1.4 million. So that is over $1 million too, and everything else would be less than $1 million.
It's more than I thought, actually. for the
Yeah.
rentals.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a Lakeshore and Pigeon Creek and some of our rental facilities, which are still, they try to keep pretty reasonable so
Yeah.
people can.
Yeah.
But I know, like, even with partners, for you guys, I know, like, with the plant sales and stuff that I'm certainly open to, like, just offering facilities for no cost, for shared, groups with similar, values and game plans. So.
Well, thank you very much. I know we, in our chats, we,
Absolutely.
we talked about the possibility of the board, the board agreeing to, or like talking about the Conservation District writing some kind of a letter of support for this millage.
Mhm.
I guess I don't know exactly how that works. Is that something that the board could theoretically authorize, and then the district would write a letter of support
Mhm.
signed by probably the chairman of the board?
Or could take a position if it chose to.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
letters.
That was gonna be my next question is, do you want a motion to that effect? It's not written on the agenda in that way. But I would be happy to make a motion to write for Ottawa Conservation District to write a letter of support for the village.
I support that.
This is where you say discussion.
Any discussion? I was on it. Just took a second.
Sorry, just giving you a hard time, man.
Any discussion?
I'll just give my opinion, generally, I think it's good for this organization to avoid choosing a side on anything, even if it seems pretty innocuous or positive, unless we have a strong, compelling argument to do so, just because it's politics and we are just Switzerland neutral. We just help, we do our thing. Is there any obvious ramifications of supporting? Probably not, but they might become obvious if something went sideways for one reason or the other. I mean, it's not a good reason to say no. I'm just saying, is there a compelling argument? And I support that with the priorities, while all amazing for parks users and Ottawa County residents are great, but they don't necessarily dovetail precisely with our priorities as an organization. There's a few, the programming, sure. Okay, we do programming. We want to educate people on conservation and all of that. Of course we do. We do a lot of programming ourselves, so we want to support that. So it's one element of it. But, in terms of keeping user fees low, is that a priority for us? Some of the other things, that some other things were not necessarily super consistent with what we do. So, is it good? Sure. Is it super compelling? You know, or do we as a district go, boy, this really, really enhance what we do? You know, but also we love our partnership with the parks. I'm just throwing that out there, you know, I don't think there's a wrong answer to this, but I'm just saying those are kind of my thoughts, so.
So I would say, from my perspective, I think the key is that it is bipartisan, because I agree, you don't want to delve into political things, but because this is not a partisan issue, this is in line with local management of resources. I think it is in our interests, especially based on like the MOU that was just signed by NACD, by NACD and the Bureau of Land Management in regards to conservation district input and land use issues. I think that's an emerging area that we are being provided both state and federal guidance is within our wheelhouse to be participating in those conversations. And I think that this is a local opportunity to have a voice in some of those land management concerns. Obviously, I would be far more excited about this if it wasn't joint millage. You know, I do think that that is, I wish we would have been able to start this conversation earlier in the process and say, hey, how could the conservation district directly get some additional funding? I do think that one of their top 5 priorities being conservation is relevant to this. And the more that we are participating together, that's a benefit. You know, I do have a broader concern of other organizations starting to take over work that has historically been conservation district work. And I think maintaining a seat at the table and maintaining those partnerships is a strategic way to address that, you know, both in partnerships with things like MSU Extension, with groups like Michigan Forest Association. You know, there is that like yin and yang pull of whose job is what, that I think working in partnership is a better way to address than working in competition. So that would be my reasons for supporting it. But that being said, like I would love to continue having those conversations about something that is a more direct support to the district, whether it's, you know, start talking about, hey, 10 years from now, can we have a shared joint millage to address those conservation resources that we're both addressing so that we're doing it in a coordinated fashion. So that would be my only additional comment.
Yeah, and I would say to echo that just on kind of the operational side of things, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, we are in more talks now, I think, than I remember us ever having with parks in terms of trying to get some of that funding, especially for the native plant program with how active we are and the connected county parks and everything. So at least in my mind, the hope is, hey, if they get this millage and they get a whole bunch of extra money, you will be hearing from us. Okay, some opportunities. That's just kind of what.
I teach native landscape class tomorrow night and I'm steering them all to your native plants.
There we go. There we go.
And that's where, you know, those partnerships do need to be reciprocal, in order for them to be functional. But I understand,
Partnerships exist now and
Absolutely.
would continue to
Yeah.
exist, whether or not we provided
I agree,
a letter
I-
to support raising taxes for every Ottawa County
I agree.
ratepayer, you know?
I'm gonna agree with Becky on that one. We don't know where this letter's gonna end up. And we're not getting asked to do it. So it's kind of very low key, my 2 cents.
Any further discussion on that? All right. Well, let's bring it to a vote. What was the wording of the motion?
I wrote down Rivka motions to write a letter of support to support Parks Village. Becky supported the motion.
Or
I can make
Kelly,
that pretty.
Kelly
Kelly, that's what
supported.
that's what I wrote. Sorry, I wrote Kelly, for some reason I said Becky.
All right. How do we vote?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I'm gonna say no right now. It's all like playing cards.
Just do it.
I hate to either way, Becky.
Exactly.
Make your own choice.
Us. I don't know about Kelly.
Oh,
I don't know.
No. I'm sorry, Kelly. Not
You don't have to
I mean, you too.
apologize.
Yeah. We support the parks. We should, yeah.
And come back if you need a letter.
Well, I think that's what she was
That's
here
what she
for.
was.
Well,
That's, that was the ask.
Yeah, I guess that's what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Letter of support.
How would you like her to ask in order that it's registered
Direct.
as an ask?
gotta be direct.
So keep coming back every month is what I'm hearing, Kelly.
You know, as an option too, I mean, this is something we could potentially revisit, right? Like, I mean, if we did get, you know, I guess an ask in writing from the parks, and, you know, I could always like draft something up too and bring it to the next meeting if we wanted to revisit it.
Well, and it would be,
So what am I missing? What was something not clear? Because we are flexible too, whether it was just like a motion, yeah, or a letter or you know,
Yeah.
whatever this board would choose to do, but why, what would you want to revisit?
well, and I would,
I
I
don't
guess,
think it worked that way, but
my question would be to Tim and Doug and Becky, are there things that you feel like are open questions or concerns that were not addressed?
My
That
concerns
would be
is
addressed.
we're supporting raising taxes, my concern.
I mean, it depends on how you write the letter. You can be very
Right,
artful
but
with-
we don't
artful
have a
with
letter
how
to
you
look at.
write.
you know,
Yeah,
we have historically stayed out of the political arena, and let's continue to do so.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, we have a good partnership that's gonna remain.
Yep, I don't
It's
think
just
we're
one
gonna
of those
burn that
things.
bridge.
We have a super compelling case to, you know. The parks always, they're gonna continue to do a good job managing the public lands. We will always partner with them to manage private lands. We're always gonna be in the same team. I just think remaining neutral, unless there's a super compelling argument to not remain neutral, that's just my feeling. Neutrality is safe.
Especially in today and
Yeah.
post election, everything. Yeah, okay. Kelly, thank you very much for joining us. So,
thank you.
Kelly.
thank you.
Sorry, I didn't have a clue, that's why I should know.
No, I didn't either.
Let's-
I didn't.
All right, moving on to officer nominations and board role elections. So I think first up is chairman for that. So I believe we have to start by getting nominations for that. It's been a few years since we've done this, so.
We do it every year.
Yeah, we do it.
Do we?
Yeah.
We do it every year.
We do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is. All right, do we have nominations for chairman?
As a reminder, you can nominate yourself if you wish, and you can also decline a nomination. If you get nominated for something that you really feel is not gonna be a fit for you, you don't have to accept the nomination if you're like, I don't have time in my life or whatever. So you can nominate yourself if there's something that you're wanting to do, and you don't have to take the nomination and be voted if it's not something you want to do. So
So I would nominate Becky for chair. That would be my nomination.
Okay. We need a
second that one.
Do we have any other nominations?
just hate to say it 3 times. This is the fun part.
Going twice.
No, you have to repeat it exactly a second time.
Do we have any other nominations for board chairman? Okay, moving on to.
Oh, and a third.
Oh, I thought I did it. Did I say it a second time? Sorry. Do we have any more nominations for board chairman?
Does it have to be a board member?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, it really does.
Seeing as how we have no more nominations for board chairman, we're gonna bring it to a vote. Rivka, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Kelvin,
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
All right, you are our new board chairman. And I believe at this point, I can immediately pass the torch over to you.
It's crap.
All right,
Good job, Ben. Okay.
You have the con.
Star.
Congratulations.
Open up nominations for vice chair.
All right, I thought about this. I'm gonna nominate Kelly because all our local involvement and being on pretty sports.
Thank you, I accept.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that. next
Well,
meeting.
a little birdie told me that Kelly happens to have a lot of treasurer skills and a lot of financial management skills, which would be why I would tend to not support the nomination for vice because
Hypothetically speaking.
hypothetically speaking. So that being said, I guess I would nominate Tim for vice.
I'm gonna pass.
Okay. So Doug, do you have any interest in vice chair? I would nominate you for Doug for vice chair.
Oh, can we roll back a little bit? So you'd want her for treasurer?
Well, I would like to have it for an open discussion, because like I said, I was just informed that she served as a treasurer for a few different other organizations.
Just
And okay, she can give us her background.
She's like,
I
I'm
was
not
like,
gonna
so
go.
It wouldn't break his heart to lose that.
Well, I know you have expressed that it is a lot and that you don't love it.
You're
and
not
so-
selling us.
The thing I like about being a
Like-
treasurer though,
Yeah,
is because you're a big part of the finance part.
Yeah.
And that is a big part of the district.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
I could have been chairman many times before,
Yeah.
but I didn't wanna, and I
Yeah.
stayed the treasurer because of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you guys want me as treasurer, I mean, it's up to everybody.
Well, and I will say too, just organizationally, I think there's a benefit to moving roles around. Just have different perspectives and different, like set of eyes on things. I think that can be valuable.
Conservation districts I worked in Montana, they switched roles every year.
Yeah.
Just a nightmare for bank accounts.
Yeah, I know that is.
But then you
is
might
what it
get
is.
somebody sitting in a seat they don't belong.
Well, hopefully
Or-
all of us are qualified by virtue of the fact that we're board members for
Yeah.
any seat.
Well, I mean, where does that leave us then? Do we need to determine whether or not?
Well, I guess Doug did not say whether he,
I didn't say no,
yes or no on vice.
I guess it's up to you guys, I mean, we're 5-member board, so
Yeah.
I ain't gonna tell you no. So,
So I guess my nomination for Doug is vice chair stands then.
Okay. Are
So
there
there's
any
currently
other
no-
nominations?
I'm going.
Are there any other nominations?
Or what? Vice chair?
Vice chair.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll go by voice vote and you state the name of the person you wish to be in that seat.
Doug.
Ken, how do you vote?
As vice
For
chair,
vice chair.
Kelly.
Kelly, how do you vote?
I'll vote Doug.
I nominated you, who am I gonna vote for? Kelly, you call. It's the position of the seat.
You sat in the last chair.
Doug,
Okay.
Doug was vice chair. On the notes.
and that brings us to treasurer / secretary. Is that what that's what we are right now, right? Okay. And we are remaining treasurer /
I mean,
secretary.
I've circled back around to this every year for the last 4 years. I still think it would be beneficial to split the role, but I'm not even gonna. I would support that motion if anybody made it, but I'm not gonna die on that hill.
I'm gonna tell you, I didn't support it because the secretary is the one that helps the chairman get things ready for the meetings, and we're not that big, and what, 99% don't have a secretary?
It varies. I mean, we don't really want what other districts do is kind of irrelevant. I would say the treasurer job is a really big job because we have such a big budget. And that's part of the reason I feel like it could be beneficial to have the secretary who's handling the agenda and minutes and all of that. Be separate from the treasurer and divide up those roles. But like I would support that if anybody is interested in doing that, but it's not a huge deal to me one way or the other.
We don't really have anyone who does any secretary
No.
work at this point necessarily.
Well, I
besides
mean, you
staff.
were doing it
Yeah.
right now. Exactly.
Besides
Well,
staff, I'm
exactly.
saying as far from the
Exactly.
board, it's not typically.
Yes.
But once Annalise comes back, it'd be Ben and Annalise taking care of all that stuff. Which is good for them to do because their eyes are on it more.
So assuming we're going with treasurer secretary as a combined role in nomination, will shock no one. I'll nominate Kelly for the role of treasurer secretary.
Alrighty. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, so we can go by voice vote. So all in favor of Kelly serving as our treasurer and secretary, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Did everyone say that? I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't,
Okay. I asked. Are you abstaining or are you naying?
I'm just gonna pass.
Okay,
so abstain.
that's why I want just ready to make minutes right. We did name votes for everyone else, so
Yeah, there's only one nominee, so
I guess you're right.
plan to abstain.
Try to do
Very good. So now we have our board. Thank you all for doing that. Appreciate it. Onward. Okay. Next order of business. Human Resources, an update on the grant and funding for Tracy's position. What do we got?
yeah, I mean, I've been doing this basically every month since, as we all know, that we're still waiting on an NACD for whatever reason. It's taken them.
To be fair, it's not NACD, it's NRCS.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
To be fair.
The short story version of it is we are continuing to fund her through a variety of projects, RCPP, watershed, water quality monitoring. We also have remaining funds from a SISMA grant, a native seed grant, which she's going to be focused on over the next few months as well. So short story is we are continuing to fund her full time through a variety of grants. We have plenty of wage budget in all of those different grants to do it, and it continues one more month at a time to not really be an issue for us. She's been doing the VAs, the vegetation assurances as well, when we have those applications come up, and those are $250 a pop. And we're obviously always looking for new opportunities to fund her position. We should be hearing about NACD. I keep saying this, but within a month and a half. I don't know. That's the hope. And if that grant comes in, obviously that'll give us the ability to fund her full time well into the future while she still is able to kind of draw on some of those other grants and be active in other projects too. So
I feel like she's almost too busy now.
Yeah.
Between all the different
She'll draw on
projects.
the other grants and that will extend how long we can utilize any.
Yep, and with RCPP ending too, there's the possibility of also having Megan draw off NACD too. So there's lots of possibilities. Like those two, Megan and Tracy, are kind of the ones that we know we have to fund them. It's kind of becoming clear that it's going to be hard to get one like big catch-all grant that can fund both of them. So we're kind of reaching into a lot of different pots, but the pots are pretty full and we have a lot of grants and a lot of projects and obviously, especially with the last 5 months with me drawing less from watershed grants, that allows that room for her to step in there too. Megan and Tracy both have a lot of experience with water quality, with all those types of things. So they're a good fit in those positions anyways. So
So what is the real holdup?
NRC.
Federal government.
yeah.
That's
Anybody know?
the federal government.
Yeah.
That's literally the whole time.
Mhm.
Chief Bencourt. Yes, I know.
They
this
said
area.
changes at NRCS was their most recent email to us.
Yeah.
Due to changes at NRCS, everything's on.
So is that waiting for a farm bill or what's the crux? What's the
That's the fun part. They don't really give us any details.
Well, I mean,
They just
I
keep
can
making us
answer that question because, and just part of those conversations is really NRCS is changing how they're handling all of their grants, cooperative agreements and funding broadly. And
He's getting too much.
so they're reevaluating like all of their allocation of resources from the top down.
Okay, so are they doing a study or are they, I mean,
No,
are we not making a decision? Is that the reasoning? We're not gonna make a decision?
Were there any dates in that conversation? Like, I guess like
Yes.
deadline type?
soon.
Okay, soon. That's okay. All right.
Literally the last email said soon.
Like there's a lot of advocacy and a lot of conversations going on to try to help move that forward and to explain, not just at NACD, all of the state associations in the entire US are in the same spot. NACD is in the same spot. All of us are collectively advocating to try to explain the impact that this is having on the ground and get them to make a decision. But until the top level at NRCS makes a decision, it's just.
Isn't NRCS controlled by USDA?
They're the same entity.
So Secretary of
So
Agriculture,
Chief Betancourt is and their second is Cole Buckle.
So, and to add to that too, we are actively applying to other funding sources too. We put together just in the last month, Consumers Energy Grant that we put in that was $240-something thousand, another one to TC Energy.
And the consumers would get a letter of intent and they invited us.
They invited us back to do the full one.
We did for the People, Place, Planet or whatever.
Yep.
Type of deal, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a big deal.
That is
really
really
hard to get.
It is.
Yeah.
It is hard to get that.
You wrote that all yourself, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow, good work. I've never been invited.
No.
So we're kind of just wandering around with our hands out, and eventually something will be put into them. Hopefully money, yes.
Watch Myers movie, like $200 gift card.
Yeah.
Hey,
Very good.
So
I have a question, and I know I'm late to this conversation, and maybe you've hashed this out already, but with the current state of things, have you forecasted out how long this is sustainable if you don't get more funding in? Like how many months can this continue in the current state?
So in the current state, and I think a lot of this is going to depend on maybe what happens with this next line item. Well into the foreseeable future. I don't have an end date because we continue to write and receive 319 and other watershed grants. If I am drawing less hours from them, that's going to open up a lot of money in those wage line items that then could be spent on other staff. With watersheds, we continue to get a variety of different grants too. We also have that natural shoreline grant that has a good amount of wages. We just put together a MyCorps volunteer stream monitoring program, programs that maybe initially 6 months ago, I would have been very involved in, and I'm not going to be as involved in those now. So that just opens up that area where we could fund other staff members.
I did actually write in time for, I think, Megan and Tracy to help out with the implementation of my core grant.
So to answer your question, I don't really have an end date, but we're very comfortable with the level of wages we have in all those different grants to just continue.
Other questions regarding this good news about Tracy that will hopefully be fully funded soon? Anything else? Everybody good? Okay. So moving on. Next item is a discussion item, and that is the executive director position. So this is just discussion on moving forward. I think Ben's temporary work agreement expires May 24 or May something after the May board meeting.
Just getting there. Yeah.
So then we'll want to have an idea of what the direction is going to be for executive director. So Kelly, I think, is pretty well up to speed. You know that when our last executive director moved on, Ben came on as interim splitting between executive director and watershed.
Right.
So we've gone on in that manner since December. And that temporary work agreement expires in May, so we'll need to make a decision on how we're gonna do executive director responsibilities going forward. So now we'll just open it up for discussion. There was some information included in your packets. An evaluation of sorts went out. I assume that was created by Ben. It was not reviewed by board members or participated in by board members, but still good information to work with. So I'll open it up to conversation.
And
It-
review too, just, it wasn't like just Ben putting it out, so I'll help review questions.
And if I could just say one thing too, like you mentioned, my work agreement ends in May. My preference, ultimately, this is your guys' decision, but my preference is to just move quicker than that. And I would like to just have a decision going forward, as soon as the board can make one. I just don't really see a need personally to drag it out for a whole nother month and then make those decisions, but that's up to you guys. I think anybody that's spoken to me knows that I feel, pretty strongly that I would love to be in this position permanently. Now what that looks like in terms of the ratio of watershed versus ED and all that stuff, I could speak to everybody for about an hour, as to what I think that would look like going forward. But, yeah, I mean, full transparency, I would like to sit in this role permanently. And I think without putting words in everybody's, mouths, I have had a lot of conversations with all of the staff about this, and I'm pretty sure, unless somebody was lying to me, that I think all of the staff feel the same way. So
Okay, thanks, Ben. Floor is open.
So I would say, just procedurally, as far as kind of decision tree, I drew a little diagram here. Talking about Ben being in that position and it being in this position the way it is, there's some earlier points in the decision tree that we have to discuss, which doesn't preclude us reaching that conclusion, but we just have to go through those steps. The two main things that I see are this question about part-time versus full-time ED, and whether that's sustainable, whether that's the direction we want to go, how that impacts our budgets, et cetera. The second piece that we had discussed briefly when we first made this interim decision was open application process and whether like that was important. So I've done some research since we had that conversation. And there's no like state law or county law or anything that requires us to have an open application. We can hire internally for roles like this. So we are allowed to do that with two big caveats. Number one being if we have any internal policies and procedures about requiring new job postings to be posted. That I don't know. Now, that doesn't mean that we couldn't change the policy if we didn't want to, but anytime we think about policy, we want to make sure that we're not making a policy decision that's just based on a single iteration, because that can have a lot of unintended consequences and implications down the line. So that would be the next kind of step is, do we have any existing policies and procedures that we need to either follow or change in regards to open posting positions? And then the second piece that, and this I don't have the answer to at all, is are there any grant agreements or MOUs for any of our funding that is implicated in this position? And obviously for the executive director position, that touches almost every pool of funding we have, just about. Although not any NRCS dollars or USDA dollars, as we discussed. Because the federal government does have like some pretty specific policies and procedures that when you apply for a federal grant that you're agreeing to open position posting policies and that kind of thing. So we would want to review those MOUs and grants that we have that are in any way impacting to see, are there requirements that we agreed to and signed on to that said, yes, an open position in this area will be posted. So I would say we have to be able to answer those two questions about what's required of us first to be able to kind of go down that decision tree. I mean, because then there's other things to talk about of like, what are the perceptions, the implications if we don't post it open, like does that set a precedent that, and I think just having conversations about that, like knowing what goes into hiring for any role, especially if we strongly feel that 99.99% we know it's going to be Ben. I don't want to like burden ourselves or our staff unnecessarily. But I also just want to make sure that we aren't
violating something that's gonna kick us in the backside later.
Good observations. Thank you. Other thoughts?
Oh, but if I was sitting in bench chair and I was gonna be fired in the middle of May at our next meeting, I wouldn't wanna know, I wouldn't wanna wait for another month to figure that out.
I don't think anybody's talking about firing Ben. I hope not. I don't
I
think
sure
that's
wouldn't be
option.
sitting there if somebody was putting applications against me, because who's the one going to sit here on the board and say no, or find somebody else? It's a pretty tough one because Ben's been here for 10 years, right? 10 plus.
2.5 now.
And a lot of people have a lot of respect for him. I think the money situation, you can't ask for a better deal. And they say he's part-time, but if he's really here all the time, if someone needs something, he can put his resources that way. So we got the best of both worlds right there, I think, with the money situation.
I
He's
would-
got a lot of contacts.
I would like to just speak on the full-time, part-time thing if I can for just a minute to kind of just, because it's one thing if my time sheet says full-time, I'm 20 hours ED, 20 hours watershed. What I will say is I think, going into the future, let's say I'm the full-time, or I'm the permanent ED, I can see myself pulling a little bit back from watershed, maybe only billing 15-ish toward watershed instead of 20. But with that being said, historically, the ED has always billed some of their time to watersheds anyways, because of that overhead administrative fiduciary duty that they do. And what I've kind of come to realize over the last 5 months, especially, is there is a ton of overlap in terms of the committees I'm part of, the meetings I go to, the partnerships and all the relationship and all that stuff. I was doing that as the watershed coordinator, and a lot of those meetings and committees, the ED would be there too. So there's billable time to watersheds where I'm also serving an ED role and spending those hours doing ED type stuff. I will also say, you guys made me salary and I'm taking advantage of that. I'm not killing myself. I'm very conscious, and I always have been, on my work-life balance. I'm not working 50 hours a week, but I'd say on average, I'm probably working 45. But I'm doing it in the most conducive way possible to me just being a relaxed, chill human being. So if I'm at home watching a basketball game, I might be looking over a document or, reading emails, something like that. So I will say I am working more than 40 hours a week, most weeks. So there's that to consider too. And like I said, with all that overlap that exists, that I think we're shrinking down on by having me kind of serve that dual role, but really mostly being the ED, and with the extra week or, hours that I'm working every week, really it's more like, at least the last 5 months, I feel like I've been putting 30 plus hours to ED specific type stuff. And I will be honest too, even just from Annalise being back this last week, I can already tangibly feel the things that are coming off my plate.
Good job, Annalise.
So yes, thank you. I was, getting ready. I was seriously like preparing the MEP and the produce safety reports. And I texted her with a question and she's like, oh, I got that. I'm already doing that. I was like, are you kidding me? So,
You just started part-time again.
yeah. So I guess that's my thought, is like, on paper, yes, a good chunk of my hours are going to be billed to watersheds. I will still be involved. I would like to still be involved in watersheds. But on a drawn back scale. I've had lots of conversations and meetings with Sarah. We've already took stock of things that can be taken off my plate. But I think my main focus, the majority of my time, will be ED stuff, if that makes sense. And I think not having that whole extra full-time person and also billing a good chunk of my hours to watershed, like Doug mentioned, does save a ton of money. I mean,
Annalise, it's my pleasure. Well, and I would say the only reason for me that even comes up as a discussion right now in connection to this is if we determine through those policies or grants that we do have to post it as an open position.
what does it look like?
Right,
Yeah.
right. How do we do that? So I guess, to me, that's like the first question we have to be able to answer is, are there any requirements? Because we can't really move forward to make a decision until we know if there's contractually things we're already bound to.
Okay, other comments?
Yeah, I think that's really important to make sure we're not violating any contract policies and, because especially if that means something could be pulled if we don't follow that policy.
If we post it and don't pick Ben, or do pick Ben, what's the repercussions of that? Somebody coming back on that one?
Well, I mean, as
I
long
think
as you
that's
have a
first.
equitable, like, transparent process, I'm more concerned about the workload that provides, especially, you know, if we're all like, we basically don't, we want Ben in this position. But we just have to be able to verify that we're not there. And again, those things are not insurmountable. A policy could be changed. An exception could be voted on by the board. Even with grants, dependent on the type of grant and the type of agreement, we could request an exception or a modification from the grantor. All of those things are doable, but we just don't even know what those things are right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll cover that.
So what is the path to getting
Just say
those
that's what
answers?
I mean,
Who's delegated or designated to figure that?
Like you should be the person who knows the policies and the grants, right? Like, that's
I don't
kind of
think
part of
there's
the
any
ED job.
Policy, I would double check,
Yeah.
but I went through policy before the meeting and I don't think there's anything in policy as a hiring procedure that we're held to.
Okay.
And I
So I
did do
see.
the same research that you did statutorily and under conservation district law, governmental entities, special units of state government. There is no requirement.
Mhm.
So it would come down to the grant policies being reviewed and ensuring that we are consistent with what those require, or we ameliorate whatever might not be consistent.
A lot of grant contract reading in my future.
Well, I mean, that's a good exercise anyway, to be
I think
honest,
that's
like,
massive.
as an ED to know what we're obligated to.
I mean, they're all searchable PDFs, right? So
Right.
just-
Just throw it into
Oh,
AI.
this one's done, yeah.
Ask. But I mean, to your point, Tim, earlier, I mean, I will speak for myself to say, you know, I think you're doing a great job. I would personally, as a board member, be supportive of finding a path forward for you staying in that job. I think we just want to make sure that we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's, not only for protection of the district, but for your security as well.
And I mean, I'm, you know, in a perfect world, in my perfect world, I would love to be appointed to the position, but I've been here for a million years. I love this place. I love the staff and I'm gonna fight for it too, if you want to post it. So, and also, you know, what that looks like, the posting too, that's a question too. Do we post it on our website for a week and then take it down? I mean, there's a lot of like,
A lot of people, a lot of
some of that
governmental
looks shady.
organizations do that.
We've done.
It's not shady, it's,
Post it
you
for
know,
a day
you post
and
it for a day so that you can check a box. Sometimes
And
that's what you do.
We did that with Megan's position. I think we posted it for a day. She
Oh,
did.
I think it was a couple days.
Okay.
you know, Jack
You're still the
obviously.
best person for the job, Megan.
Jack obviously isn't here, you know, I had this conversation with him just kind of because I wanted to, you know, feel out how it works. And he said too, like echoed what you guys have said. He said, you know, it's for most districts, obviously it's best practice to post it somewhere. But, you know, and then like just our neighbors to the north just appointed Chelsea,
Yep.
in a board decision. So every district is different, I think, every situation.
And I do think long-term, it is a good idea for us to think about succession planning and having, like, for this ED role, what does that look like? How do we make sure that there's a good, strong handoff? We know that's been a issue in the past as far as, you know, things falling between cracks between positions. But all that stuff is stuff, you know, that we can deal with as needed.
Yeah, who would, you hire somebody else, who's gonna train them? Ben?
Again, I don't want to be, anything I'm saying to be misconstrued as I'm trying to get rid of Ben, because that is not it at all. I think Ben has been doing a fantastic job. You know, I think we just need to make sure we're doing our due diligence as board members.
Just a quick note on that survey too, really the point of that, since it wasn't a formal review by any means, it was just information for myself too, and hopefully information for you is in terms of how the staff was feeling and areas I could improve too. And even since that survey went out and I took that feedback to heart and implemented a few things, you know, already. And I didn't want to sit here in this position and say that I want to be the permanent ED unless I felt like the staff were all in support of that as well. If there was any questions there, they didn't think I was up to it, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would kind of retreat back into my watershed world and, and it is what it is. But, so that was a big thing for me. I really, truly, I told them all it was confidential and I basically told them like, go hard, to like, really, please be honest in this. And it's been very helpful to me. So.
Further discussion?
Is it possible to do like a conditional appointment? Like to say we would like to appoint Ben as ED if all of these grant agreements prove that there's no conflict in doing that? Like, is that a possible way to take some
I'm
action?
not sure what the urgency would be there because he's good until May 24. We have to write a new work agreement anyway. I mean, nothing's gonna change between now and May. We've got to do the research. We have to write a new work agreement. I mean, we've been doing this for 5 months. I don't know if there's any urgency to do something conditional right now. I mean, it's
Well, we got to do
can.
the research and we have to come up with a plan before the next board meeting.
right,
Cause that'll be the final, right? Yes or no?
right. So I don't know if there's any urgency to do something conditional now, knowing we're gonna address it in May before
It's just
his
an
current.
odd feeling for him.
Peace of mind for me.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a rough month. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
You know.
that'd be weird for me, but whatever.
I guess I don't feel like there's had been anything like even remotely threatening
Yeah.
happening. Unless I missed something.
It's just
No,
uncertainty.
no,
It's just uncertainty.
the uncertainty. Yeah, I think more than anything.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that any of that uncertainty is gonna go away. Like would support if we,
I mean,
if
we
it
can do
makes people
conditional. I'm
feel
just saying, I
better.
think it's enough. It's not
But the
necessary.
conditional thing is the only thing we're really waiting on, so that uncertainty doesn't go away until we have an answer on that.
I guess I'll make my comments and then we can entertain whatever emotion, or not. And then move on if all the discussion is on the table. I mean, my thoughts were similar to Rivka's. I did some looking around to make sure that we weren't required or held to any open process or not. That's really good I was not thinking of the grant piece of it, so thank you for both of you guys for being on top of that. Internal policy doesn't indicate that we necessarily have to post. We can appoint if that's what we wish to do. I reviewed all of the staff feedback and, certainly after the tumultuous 3 years they've had in the fourth executive director, albeit a known quantity, well, 2 of them are known quantities, but nonetheless, it's a lot of instability and we owe them some stability after, kind of some rocky roads. So it would be nice to be able to provide them that. I guess the only thing I think of, the couple of things is just, making sure we're adequately covering watershed responsibilities. And it sounds like we have capacity opening up and existing to make sure that we are not shortchanging watershed responsibilities in any way.
We got a lot of volunteers and interns too now too.
That I didn't even mention that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we had
And,
interns for the first time for GDSU this semester.
And then just like if Ben were to win the lottery and not come back tomorrow, and we were to post for what our needs are, what would those postings look like? I guess that's kind of how I backed into it. What would we post for if you did win the lottery and not come back? That should really kind of drive how we
He'd come back just to share with us.
Good. So,
Buy us some of those gluten-free donuts from,
Yes.
my concern about is, work-life balance, making sure and that I'm calmed a little bit knowing that we're dishing off enough, hopefully, of the watershed responsibilities because, we don't have a lot to bring to the party here with our lack of benefits and working hard and, government headaches. We should be able to offer work-life balance and not have people feel obligated to work in their off hours. So that's what I would like. So, yeah, so I think at this point, if there's not any deep and, critical further discussion, we can entertain a motion of any sort to take, or we can just say, yep, these things we're gonna come back to in May, whatever the board's pleasure is. If anybody wishes to make a motion.
I move that we put him in the seat and worry about the rest down the road if there's an issue.
Can we reword that motion and I'd be happy to support it.
Reword it as politically correct as you'd like.
Would you like to suggest a friendly amendment?
Yeah, I mean that we could, conditionally approve, has permanent appointment to the role pending review of our existing grant agreements.
Let me say that again. Tim motions conditionally to conditionally approve Ben's permanent appointment
Mm-hmm.
to the ED role. Say that last part again, contingent.
Contingent on review of our grant agreements.
Agreements. And that goes. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I support, assuming Tim's okay with that.
I'm okay.
Motion.
Right. Discussion on the motion. Okay.
I would be curious to see what the wording is on the work agreement in terms of, is it going to be our traditional executive director agreement, which indicates a full-time opportunity? Is there going to be some sort of a split? Are we just going to inherently know you're gonna, you've learned very well how you can book your time to the other grants, which is something EDs are doing anyway, but you probably to a larger degree because of how you're positioned, but
And that's kind of what I envisioned.
will we writing that?
Yeah.
I want to see how we're writing that. Not that I wouldn't support this. I support this totally, but I'm curious what the work agreement, we need to kind of massage what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because we're saying permanent ED role,
Mhm.
is it part-time? Is it full-time? What is that? So,
Yeah, and I would say that, like, again, that succession planning is gonna be really important because there's only one Ben Jordan. And so we're kind of shaping this position around your very unique set of skills and abilities that not anybody else is gonna have.
Mhm.
And so unless you plan on doing this job for the rest of your life and never dying, then we'll need to have some kind of discussions at some point about what does transition look like? What is an offering? So we're not backing ourselves into a corner funding wise, so we suddenly can't hire. If you get your spouse gets their dream job and you decide to move to California.
Yeah.
That now.
Which we'll hear
we don't-
about in like 2 weeks.
Right. I like those things, you never anticipate them happening, but it's just good
It's
to be
reality.
responsible. Yeah, and
But that's
plan.
with our budget too. You
Yeah.
gotta watch it.
Yeah. I don't
I'd
think
like
we
to
need
see
to
in this
amend
work
that.
agreement, kind of how he's got the one now where it's splitting it.
And I do think that there has been some missed opportunity in the past as far as pulling funding from multiple different grants for the ED position that I think, we're getting better as a district at doing.
Yeah.
And that's normal, and that's part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I foresee it being, about as close time or close to full-time ED, just with me also putting some time toward watersheds, which again, other EDs were, but I might have 4 or 5 more hours than they might have put toward it. Still gonna put on my backpack, shocker, in the summers, get out doing that.
You might have to let me do it once this year, so I can make sure I can do
wear
it.
you can wear the backpack.
You can come up to the river by my cottage, check it out.
okay, any further discussion? Yes, sir.
How can we put the difference between his part-time budget and a full-time position in a savings account somewhere?
I think that's next steps. You're jumping a few hops ahead, but I think
Mhm.
we're heading there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, because some of the funds are going to the additional support staff that's supporting your role too. So it's not like there's just 100% of those funds available.
I mean, end of the day, we're still,
Right.
we're spending more. We're not spending less. I mean,
Right.
if you give people raises, we're spending more. We're not spending less.
Exactly.
So
But you're
let's be clear
spending,
about that.
you're spending it out of, grant, money,
Yes. I
not out of
understand
district money.
that. And I understand that, but we have raised the bar.
But it's all part of our budget regardless.
But yes, I think, yes, we need to go there. We're a couple
Thank
hops
you.
away, but that's where we're heading for sure. Yeah. All right, we're ready for a vote? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Did everyone vote aye?
Yes.
Mhm.
When I say all opposed, same sign and there's nothing, then it can go.
I just wanna make sure no one said then just not say anything.
All right,
So with the, I guess, just for clarification purposes,
Mhm.
just so I know what that motion actually means. Let's say over the next month, I review all these grant agreements and everything, and there's nothing pops out that could cause any issues. What does that mean for me?
that means you are
You are.
appointed.
You better bring
The
a,
wording could
So-
have been
I was gonna say.
conditionally, that
Yeah.
there are no grant agreements that,
Yeah.
prevent us from appointing him, but
So
and I would
theoretically,
say
if
bring-
things
Bring a work
check out,
agreement.
bring a work agreement, that's, I guess, where I was going,
Yeah, I
so.
think if something comes up,
Then we can figure out how to, yeah.
Then
Gotcha.
we can address it. And I would say, like any amount of like additional time you can give us to review that work agreement would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Just because it is gonna be nuanced.
Yeah.
And we may,
A little earlier than what.
yeah. We may want to discuss some of the nuances of that. Sure.
Well, I want to say appreciate all the support that you guys have given me, the trust. Doing this role, it's been a lot to learn, but I feel like I'm getting better at it. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
good job.
Means a lot.
it's been tough sledding without Annalise and all the election stuff. I mean, it's been a rough 5 months for you, so.
Election, did we have an election?
I think so.
Keep blocking it out here.
I don't think anything officially needs to be done, but if you're officially ED, then I'm making myself progress coordinator for watersheds.
I
It
mean.
doesn't need anything different right now, because it's not great.
New business card.
Yes.
All right, next
Add that to the
item
next
is strike team hiring, which looks like a discussion item, right? And then.
Yeah, just a quick note. I think everybody is probably aware that Will is leaving us. Thursday will be his last day. We are actively in the process of hiring a replacement for him. And then we do have one work agreement in here for the new HWA technician who started, was that?
No, it's Monday, but Monday before.
Gotcha. So yep, that's the only work agreement we have. We're actively in the hiring process for Will's replacement.
And you sit on that, Muriel,
I will be on the second interviews for that
just
position.
Muriel for the first. Ron?
Me and Brendan are
You and
doing
Brendan,
those. Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
So.
which that was not in my board report, but I had submitted that prior to Will put it his 2 weeks in.
Okay. So I need a motion.
To accept Ashley Joliet.
Yeah, confused about what we. You're saying, I don't think that we're just that, so. Just like, I will not. That option.
We have not accepted your resignation, actually.
No, I motion to approve the Ashley's work agreement.
Second.
Any discussion?
Said.
She passed all of her pesticide
Yeah,
tests today.
Passed all our pesticide tests.
One go.
First go, yeah.
Wow.
Very impressive.
Good. for her.
Great. So last page of human resources tab.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to wait? You have
Nope,
questions?
nope, I don't have any questions.
Okay, so this is funding, so if there's no further, any further discussion? No? Okay. We're gonna roll call then. Rivka,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Kelly, yes, Doug,
Yes.
yes. All right, Ashley's official.
All right.
All right, down to finance, bank recs for your information and bill payment. Let's get a motion for paying the bills.
I'm so moved.
Support. And discussion on bills.
You will see in the bills list, I did have to tack on several more that came in late. From when I originally sent in your packets, they are highlighted on that sheet. One of them, very big check, $37,000 for chemical for the treatment season, for invasives. So just wanted to make a note of that.
I'm sorry, who motioned in his motion?
That'll be on page
There's a $37,000 check in here.
page 43, yeah. Yeah, $37,000 check.
Sign it.
I signed it. fine.
And that's pretty typical, I think, of every year. You said last year was like 40,000, right?
HWA chemical specifically, and that stuff's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Done the motion and support. We've discussed. We ready to vote on paying the bills?
Yeah, I would just like to again mention that I think having a budget to actual would be really valuable.
That is in here.
Oh.
Well,
There is on the approach a little bit. There's a discussion item on that. And then I also think that breaking out the financial FYI items or discussion from bill payment so that we know if we want
Yeah.
to comment on the financial statement, do it on that bullet point and we just pass the bills on the other one. So,
So,
because we can talk about the financial statements and but the actual.
and that has both sides too, so it's operations and.
Okay, so let's vote on bills and then we'll talk about all other things. Financial after that, okay? All right. Doug, how do you vote?
Yes.
Kelly? Yes. Tim?
Yes.
Rivka?
Yes.
Me? Yes. Bills are paid. All right, cash flow forecast, and Annalise, take it away, is my favorite document.
I mean, the main thing is, again, if you looked at the checklist, you notice we're about to pay a whole lot of checks. We just did payroll, so we have a lot of money going out. But within the next couple of weeks, we have an absolute ton of money coming back in. Let me open up that sheet real quick. Literally within the next, I think, 2 weeks, we have reimbursements for both our 319s. We have reimbursements for produce safety, for CTAP. We have the second half of our operations funding from the county, which will be 60 grand. We have our $8,000 quarterly from the MDARD operations grant. And then we have our quarterly advance from the water quality monitoring as well, plus a couple other grants. So I think in all, I'd have to do the numbers, but it's like $170,000, $180,000 coming in the next week or two. Any questions on that?
No. Okay, no questions on the cash flow forecast? Moving on to the approach budget to actual.
So, as I've kind of mentioned in previous meetings, QuickBooks does not have our budget built into it. So running a report on QuickBooks that would look probably a lot more intense, but nicer than this is hard to do. We can't really do that. Annalise and I have already had conversations about future fiscal years, building that budget into QuickBooks, and then also building the line items in our next year budget around the classes and everything that we have in QuickBooks. One thing that I'm finding, and I'm sure, I don't know if Annalise has found this before, but sometimes it's hard to kind of figure out what category things should go under. But for the most part, what you have in front of you is a document showing, as of Q2, how much in each of these line items that we've spent. So if you look at page 62, the top half of that is not highlighted, that's the revenue to date that we've brought in. The bottom half of that is the expenditures to date by line item. Highlighted in green are the ones that we, based on our estimates, we're gonna, expend at our budget or under our budget. The orange is kind of like we may exceed the budget, but we're probably in pretty good shape. Like groundwater, we've spent a little bit over half and we're halfway through, but obviously we only have $20,000 in that. So we're going to spend that, to the dollar throughout the year. And then the red are lines where we have to date expended more money than was originally appropriated. Becky, I know we had conversations about that, and my understanding, and I think yours too, is as long as the revenue is outpacing those expenditures, we're good. If you look at like the fee for service, for HWA, we've spent a lot more money than was originally appropriated just because we're doing a lot more work. And I think when we did the appropriations last year, we didn't have that contract for Hoffma, right?
What time of year was the appropriation?
It would have been like early summer or summer when we started putting it together, like June, July. We did.
Last year, I don't think it happened until like.
Oh, it did, yeah.
It was September.
So that's just an example of like, we got this big contract to do for service work. We're spending a lot more money, but also bringing a ton more in revenue. Same thing with NACD 24. For whatever reason, I was not there when we did the budget, so I'm not sure why it was estimated at $8,000 that we would spend. Maybe just because we only had 1 quarter remaining in the project, we ended up spending more out of that. But again, with NACD, we've been reimbursed all that money. It's all accounted for. We're not spending money in that category that we did get back in reimbursements. And then the only other line item I just wanted to mention at the very bottom, other expenses, restricted funds or savings. That says $28,000, but this is purely because I'm still learning QuickBooks. Annalise just got back this year. There's some expenses that I know need to get categorized in some of these other areas. I just was not sure exactly where to place them and how to place them. So that isn't actually just $28,000 that was spent out of other categories. Those will get placed in other areas. But other than that, I mean, we're looking pretty good with operations. We're spending, well under what we originally estimated. A lot of this, like with what we think we're going to spend on like grants, it's tough to estimate that. You go with what you kind of spent the last quarter of the last year and do your best, but.
So then the overage, the 289 fee for service HWA, which revenue line item is that? Is it charges for services or is it state funds? Are we in state funds? Where does that live?
That would be, yes, that would I think that would be charges for services. Yeah.
Okay.
That does sound right. I don't know if you can hear me, but yes, that sounds about right. I'm not looking at it. I'm on my phone, so I believe so.
And again, this is where it's complicated because like what we write as donations and charges for services, all that kind of stuff, like, okay, if we don't have it actually built into QuickBooks, we then have to manually decide which classes should go into that.
Right,
And
we
which
just
is
can have another tab and pull it over, all right, here's all the classes and pull them into that and all that kind of good stuff, but we might wanna, out of an abundance of caution at some point, we could do an amendment and
Yeah.
up those expenses. We probably should, just because
Yeah.
you can't really tell the way these are bucketed. As long as we don't exceed, we don't know what all goes into state funds, so we just, I don't think it's a on fire emergency to amend, but we may want to at some point just to increase those expenses to what the actuals are, and then we're covered,
It's
I don't
hard
exactly
having that
say about
top
that,
look one way,
Right.
where we pool them all and then the bottom is more itemized.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Say, I know HWA for hire has its own class, and so
Yeah.
does strike for hire. I don't know exactly how it looks when you're looking at it.
Yeah, and then those get pooled into that line on the appropriations budget, which is, again, it's hard for us to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you could have anyway,
Yeah.
you know how to do this.
But if you run a profit and loss report on QuickBooks just for HWA for hire, obviously our revenue is much higher than the actual expenses, so.
Yeah, I do think we should make an amendment. The one that sticks out to me is the CTAP. And I know why that's lower,
Yeah.
because obviously we haven't had a CTAP person in that position, and payroll's a big chunk of that. Do we have a plan though to meet the grant obligations and spend through all of those funds?
That is a plan that is beginning to unfold right now. We're starting to have those conversations with MDART about how that can be spent,
Okay.
because obviously, yes, the
There's a
goal
lot
is
of
to
restrictions.
spend all of that money. And I think in a previous grant, when we had extras, they allowed us to use some of that to purchase a car, I think, isn't that how we bought the Ford Focus?
Some of
Several years
those
ago.
rules have changed though.
Yeah,
even
right,
Last year.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
Time that was allowed.
right. No, and
Hold my breath.
yeah.
I know in past, I don't know how feasible because we had, not enough like travel.
Yep.
So like that could be one thing. where
So
we put-
mileage, I could see cost share being a big part of that. If we can provide some additional cost share to people during the
Okay.
process of working with them, that'd be great.
Which line is the CTAP?
The
Neat grant.
NEEP
Me.
probably should be changed to CTAP
Yeah,
to be
Yep.
typical.
So last year we ran into the same thing with Karen being gone, basically the same amount of time and the same time of year. And we were able to utilize that for travel because the travel pot was so small for me at the time. So yeah, Jamie did a lot of talking with Jack and other people to figure out how we could be able to spend through and get all of that money that we could and not leave any on the table there.
And I would recommend, even though Jack is our RC, if there's questions he can't answer, Nadine, like help
Yeah.
with a lot of that type of stuff. It wouldn't hurt, because she specializes in
the financial stuff.
Yes, sir.
It's a foreign concept to me, to spend money you didn't earn. Why would we not send it back?
Less money next time.
Huh?
I understand.
That's a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
a foreign concept to a farmer.
I understand your sentiment and I struggle with that in government and in budgeting. 'Cause if you don't spend it, they're not gonna give you more to do the work. If you're a good steward and you have some left over, you give it back, that doesn't help you.
Yeah.
And it's
So we're-
it's
so
a
we're-
terrible.
So we're
perception.
teaching people to be less efficient.
No, I mean, you have to find legitimate ways to spend it that meet the requirements of the grant. You
Am I making
make
sense?
sure you're doing the
yeah.
work.
Yes, I totally get it. And I think the same thing. And I actually was thinking it just a few moments before you said it.
Yeah.
Certainly goes
Yeah.
through my mind, but this is the world that we live in government and grants and the work that we do.
Shame on government.
Yeah,
No, and that's
Shame
why
on
the
government.
first thing that came to my mind is cost share. I mean, if we can utilize, if we have $3,000 left over at the end of this grant, I mean, we wouldn't wait till the end of the grant, but if we know we're gonna have $3,000 and we could give farmers more cost share throughout that process to do a fuel pad or whatever they need to get verified. Whereas previously we might be able to give them $200. Now we can give them more. That would allow us to utilize the grant funding and also help those farmers. So.
You don't think the
That's-
farmers earned it, Tim? The more cost shares?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but like part of being a
It's
good
not
steward
farmers.
is
Don't take it wrong. It's not farmers. Farmers get what they deserve.
Yeah.
Right? It's the work we put in, you get returns.
Okay.
I'm a conservative conservationist, if that makes sense. I want to make sure every dollar counts on my farm, whether that's a 10-cent pop can or a $200,000 purchase.
Especially in this economy.
And you
Yes.
don't waste money,
Yes.
period.
Mhm.
I don't care if you're in government, in business, in a nonprofit.
Yeah.
That's just a foreign concept. Sorry.
Well, I
well, we
agree
want to draw it
completely.
down
We
to
don't
put
want
it
to
to use
waste
here
it.
in Ottawa County rather than send it back to the state agency and they don't know what to do with it and it just disappears. in the
If you're
future.
gonna tell me like
At least we
every
can
single
draw.
need is met and there's no good work we can do with it, fine. But if not, then it's our responsibility to make sure we are doing good work with it.
Yeah.
That we are putting it to use. for
And
what's
mileage is a good example too. Like we almost, every year, we almost exceed that or we exceed it. It's just generally, there's not enough mileage written into there. I think I was having that conversation with Jimena just a few days ago, like it goes quick.
Mhm.
And so that's an area where if you want to get a CTAP tech out to farms and you want to go out and help people, moving some of that money into mileage is a good way to do it. Cost share is a good way to do it. But overall, the more money we spend out of that, it stays local, it helps out the farmers, it helps out the district as opposed to, again, being thrown into the general fund and
Yeah, never to be seen
disappears.
again.
Yeah. And then they say, well, they didn't use their full grant last year. Do we even
Yeah,
have
then
to
we
give
get
them the same?
penalized, which
Yeah.
is, if I totally
That's
get.
the guy I'd vote for more.
Yeah, I know, but you
Sometimes
can't,
people
doesn't work
don't
that way in
work,
government,
yeah.
which sucks. I totally get what you're saying, but it's.
Morgan's actually got a great
That
example.
day, for example, I actually overspent my cost share. I didn't spend money on my own training. I gave it to cost share to the farmers because I would rather have it go to the farmers than my training. Because that's just how farming, it's hard right now, you know that. And so because I know how to spend cost share money, the state offered to give me more money this year. They haven't offered it to any other techs yet because I'm the only one that's spent it.
Yeah.
So I'm not working less because I got less money. In fact, I'm overperforming for the sake of the farmers to get them more money because you
Good for you.
deserve it. Yeah, so
All right.
I would
Girl,
just for
Morgan.
myself.
Yeah.
I'm working
Get
harder
it.
for that to happen.
So same thing with the
Yeah.
CTAP
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, we're not gonna find random inefficient ways to spend. We're gonna find good ways to put it to good use.
Okay.
Okay, so we will do an amendment in the future out of abundance of caution, but this is just FYI. Doing a gut check, which is good, which we hadn't been doing before, so this is a good thing. Any more discussion on the approach? The actual? Good, okay, so we'll move on, it's just a discussion item. Additional committee stipend for employees. And I will let Ben take the floor on this.
Yeah, so years ago, obviously, we had, kind of bonuses that we would get people annually. Obviously, the last few years, we've been doing committee stipends instead. You guys are familiar with that. That's the $500 that we give them usually toward the holiday season to kind of, because we're all part of these different, the tree sale committee, the plant sale committee, all of that goes above and beyond our regular work duties. We had some turnover prior to us doing the last round of them. We had less employees total that received those stipends than we had originally budgeted for. I think we had budgeted what was it, like $8,000 for that. Yeah, $8,000 for that. We only ended up using 6,500 of that. What I would love to do, and just given that we are also well under budget on line items like the executive director, and mileage is another good example. We are not using nearly as much district mileage as we originally thought. And I'm just giving you some examples, like the $20,000 in our operations budget that we thought we were going to have to spend on, fixing some of those errors in QuickBooks. It's going to be much, much less than that. So my point is, our operations budget, we're going to be well under budget. What I would love to do, especially considering the incredibly difficult March that the staff had with the elections. There was about a 3-week period where people basically weren't able to do their job processing votes. I would love to utilize the rest of that $1,500 in that line item, and I would personally like to double that to about $3,000. And give everybody minus myself another committee stipend. I think when I was just drawing up some numbers, I'd love to give everybody like $350, and then I think I drew up about $200 for Sierra too, because she was part-time and not a permanent employee, but she obviously helped out tremendously. So that's what I would love to do. Any thoughts on that? I think they deserve it.
I agree. Am I missing something in here though that like outlines that or?
Like how much we're giving them?
Yeah.
No, I didn't write that up. I didn't know what the thoughts were, if anybody would. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not opposed.
Why do you exclude yourself from that?
Because when I took this role, I got a big raise and I just don't, I mean, that's honestly my thinking. I just don't, I would rather it go to the staff. Honestly, if you gave me one, I would just divide it amongst everybody. I'd buy everybody
You're
a
one of those,
lot
yeah.
of cases of beer, so.
And in this economy, I don't.
Yeah, Tim, that pops up there. Where's that?
Yeah,
Steve off time.
Discussion, I think we probably could make a motion.
What was the leftover committee's budget I think you said?
Well, so here's my question too. My understanding within the operations portion of that, we don't have to move line items. As long as we're under budget overall.
Yep.
So we don't have to
There
move
was
anything
one
there.
thing.
Yeah.
And this is the breakdown of that one thing.
Yes.
Yes. So it does sound like there should be some operations that we could start to migrate into building the fund balance. And this is just a small portion of it, even if we double to 3,000.
Yeah, that's what I would love to do, yeah.
I'm gonna just make this, I am not opposed. I just don't think we should make this a habit.
I would agree.
I
think
agree.
It's an extenuating circumstance this year and the opportunity and the workload are both there at the same time. So I think it probably makes sense.
Once you give a kid an ice cream cone, they want one every day.
Committee
You
stipend
don't hire kids.
and one free ice cream cone on the district.
I'll buy the ice cream.
Yeah,
Listen,
so
the other day- We turned in those cans over at Wesco and we got money back to buy ourselves free ice cream with our recycling.
You can come to my farm. My employees are too lazy to put them from the waste basket into the recycle can.
So there's, yeah.
All right, I make a motion to approve a $3,000 allocation to committee stipends as per Ben's recommendation.
Wait, say that again.
I make a motion to approve $3,000 allocation to committee stipends from the operational budget as per Ben's recommendation.
Do you have to say this 3 times, Steve?
To get it.
Actually Googled that.
I'm
and there
still
is
new to doing them and
basis for that. It's just
Take
like,
the motion.
It's a lot of.
That's just
you
what's
gotta,
got
like,
like governmental lore and everybody does it. It's
Right.
My motion is to just keep it at 1,500, the over budget.
Is that a friendly amendment that Rivka can entertain?
Sure.
Rivka, did you get support?
Nobody has supported yet, so I have a motion and
I'll support. Now discussion. Tim, would you like to suggest your friendly amendment?
I give a motion. I don't know, how am I supposed to do that correctly?
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor, so
Yeah.
you're making a suggestion. So if Rivka would like to change her motion to your suggestion, she
To
can.
me,
do
that's
that.
not a friendly amendment. That's a different motion, isn't it?
No.
No?
well, but we have
We have
Yeah, you have to vote
We
on,
really do
you have to
want-
go through the process and then vote
So
on
we'd
it.
have to deny my motion unless we make a friendly amendment. So I guess before I would accept
How
that
can you
change.
vote? How can you vote on something? If I'm making a friendly amendment, nobody else supports that, what good is it?
None, it goes bye-bye.
So that's what I'm saying. That
So
should
I
be
guess
another
I would
motion.
just be interested to hear Kelly and Doug's thoughts one way or another on 1,500 versus 3,000 before adjusting my motion. Or Tim, your
So sorry, you
thought
got
process.
motion and support
the above.
for the
That
three.
motion,
Now
that Rivka
discussing.
makes the motion to support for $3,000 allocation to community stipends for the one-time stipend. That's supporting that.
Yeah, okay.
Are we missing anyone here? New, I mean, everybody's included for this thing? I mean, is there gonna be a new hire and say, where's my money?
No, I guess that's a good question. I guess, we could almost do it. That's a good question.
I mean, is someone
it's gotta be
here?
done.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Is there someone here that just got hired in that wasn't part?
I
of
mean,
it?
I guess Jimena would be the only one that got hired very recently.
Yeah.
And, well, yeah, actually, I mean, she literally has been here, yeah, but
For being honest, and at least.
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, if you're doing it to
Yeah.
employees, you're doing it to them all.
I guess my gut feeling would be to go with the staff that were here,
Agreed.
in person, working, dealing with the election and everything.
Yeah. It's
Well,
so
and that-
tied to-
my
Yeah.
motion
Yeah.
said as per Ben's recommendation to give you the discretion to administer that as you see fit.
Okay, so that addresses your
I know,
concern.
but I don't
Yep.
feel good leaving somebody out. that's
Right,
supposed to be
and
part of
I
it.
feel that, like, obviously, I don't want to exclude anybody, but this is, again, kind of extenuating circumstances for the extraordinary amount of effort that people had to do with the elections and everything, so that's my gut feeling there.
And it seems like the $3,000 is an appropriate amount. It's in the operational budget. Cause I mean, that seems honestly like it's not enough. But, we have limitations within a budget.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to pick a number that could be easily offset with, mileage alone, like, we're gonna be under budget $1,500 on mileage alone, so.
So yeah, I guess in absence of like a really compelling reason to change it down, I would maintain my motion.
Okay, so she's not going to accept your offer of a friendly amendment. So we'll just vote on the motion as is. If we're ready to vote.
$350 a person, right?
It came out, when I originally did the numbers, it came out to 350 and then 200 to Sierra.
You don't want to give nothing to the new hires. Exactly.
It's not that I don't want to, yeah, I mean, I just, in my head, when I wrote this up, it was like, hey, everybody dealt with the election, that was my thoughts.
Annalise has some comments up there, so make sure that you read those as well.
Annalise, I'll just read it out loud. She said, my understanding, it seems it should be only to those who were employed and helped during election time. She also says, I obviously do not expect the stipend, and I would assume neither would anyone else who wasn't working to help with the election during this time. I think that's the sentiment, was that it was more of like a help with the election kind of thing.
So I feel like that's well
Everybody
within
part of the team,
Ben's,
part of the big team.
I
I don't wanna look at
purview,
this. as a
executive director, about that kind of call.
Springtime gift.
Propose giving them potentially, and it's at Ben's discretion, but we could entertain the idea of giving them a lesser amount.
Yeah.
To be.
Yeah.
Fair
I could-
across the board, 50 or hundo or
Yeah.
something, I mean, someone that just shows up on the scene. Gets an extra 50 or hundo, I mean.
Kind of a,
I mean, you
kind of a
look at it in a
prorated,
different way, not the election, look at it a way of. You wanna support the team,
Absolutely.
going
Welcome
forward
back,
into the
what have you.
spring.
Well, if you wanna make it 3,500, I mean,
No,
No, my motion is 3, okay? You think
Four,
how
you know,
wanna
four,
give
you know,
that
I
out.
think that the
That's right.
suggestion is a good one for you to consider, and I think we'll all support that consideration, so.
Well, and the motion is at Ben's discretion, how he allocates.
I have 3,000 to, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
it's
not,
more about the
Yeah,
yeah,
total
we're not
amount.
dictating it, but I think
Yeah.
that's good.
Mhm.
I like it. Okay, so shall we take a vote? Are we good? Okay, we're gonna do a roll call because it's money and I'm gonna mix it up. Kelly? Yes. Tim?
No.
Rivka?
Yes.
Doug?
yes.
Yes.
It passes.
Next
We'll
one
pass on to that.
is discussion and vote, banking authorized reps and signer updates. Then,
So, you have a couple of pages here. 63, 64, 65. I finally, after 17 years and an entire odyssey, I finally have had some recurring conversations with the Chase representative. And a couple things happened. Number one, my paperwork is officially submitted. I had to resubmit it twice.
Am I missing something on the agenda?
Do you want a motion first?
well, it's discussion and vote, so I don't know.
Yeah, let me just give some information first. Is
Yeah,
that, is that?
Give us some context and then we'll get a motion.
Okay. Maybe it wasn't, I'm not sure if that's.
Well, we're
It's
still.
the last thing on financial.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't.
So I finally got a hold of her. So the first good update is after resubmitting the paperwork twice and waiting 3 months, and she finally got back to me. Oh, I was off for medical reasons. And apparently nobody was checking her inbox during that time. But anyways, I am submitted as the authorized user of the credit card. It's done. It's being reviewed, and theoretically, in a couple weeks, we will get new cards. I will be an authorized user on those accounts. So we're all good there, pending them getting back to me again and asking me to resubmit. So I think we're good. The paperwork you have in front of you, page 63, is I've been instructed that this is a sample letter. It would need to be put on district letterhead, and this is the letter that adds and removes people as authorized reps and signers for our savings account and our checking account. Now, on this letter, you have to clarify who you want added to these accounts individually. So you have to say, hey, I want to add this person to the checking, savings one and savings two, or only checking, or whatever it is that you guys decide to do. We would also need in that same letter to say, I would like to remove Matt Hale, being as though he's no longer on the board. You would have to write that all in this letter, specify who you're adding, who you're removing, what accounts. And then the new signer information on 64, each person being added to accounts needs to do, they need to fill that out. And then 65 is just the primary and secondary IDs that we would need from those people to be submitted to. So letter on letterhead with all the changes we want to make, those two pieces of paperwork filled out, and then that needs to be submitted to the rep at Chase.
Who is currently listed on all of our accounts?
It is, as signers, it is Annalise, Doug, and Matt. That's my understanding, correct?
Signers for checking.
Yep.
Let me run over how this goes. Do you care? So as treasurer, you have access to savings and checking. No one else has access to savings except the treasurer. They're the ones that transfer the money into the checking accounts. We have checking one, checking two. They can explain that to you later. That is to prevent fraud. The only thing that's kind of bad in Annalise, she would ask me a lot if they got grant money in, and I always send her snapshots of the savings account. It would be nice if they could see it, just not be able to do anything with it.
You should be able to do that, Kate.
We have had that in
Reason
the
number
past. where-
500, why we need to have a different pay.
Yeah, so But,
Megan and Lexi in the past have been able to get in and look at them.
she couldn't get into it.
Oh,
Yeah, give her my password. once in a while.
okay. Oh,
I was out of town, she needed to
Like I
see
said,
it.
Don't say that.
So, but that's how that works. You guys, and this is for Becky, because she's the chairman. This is from past history. The letterhead that you write has to say Ottawa Soil and Water. We got bit before
Yeah.
because it said Ottawa County Conservation District, and that's not what our checkers.
That's
They're,
what I have to
they're
deal with
really,
too.
they're
It's
really
the
strict.
worst.
They're real, well, this is what it was Ottawa Soil and Water forever.
Mhm. That's what I also manage an ancient account at Chase that is not the current name of an organization, and
Yeah.
it's so frustrating.
So them guys are really, really fussy, and you just gotta go by what you ask.
Mhm.
But it's gonna, now that Becky's chairman, I'm pretty sure you're the one that's gonna have to write it and show the letterhead and prove it. If you need me on there, I can help you out with that, because I'm probably the only one that's a board member that's on the account.
Yeah, and my understanding is the people being removed from the accounts, we don't need a signature or any from them. It's just,
No, they're
Whoever
gonna
signs this
ask
letter.
you, like, take Doug off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kelly on.
So you need a motion for signers and then you will draft a letter that we will.
yep, I can draft a letter based on that info. It'll get sent over to you to sign. Yeah.
And then is this a better to do in person sort of a thing,
When we
like
go to Florida,
the bank
you
together?
can't,
And
it's Florida,
Yeah.
it's in
I
Florida.
think we have to submit it all digital.
We have to go through.
So I'll get a
can't
link
go
to
into
them.
a local branch.
Nope, tried that.
Yep.
It used to be able to go down there, and
It's the
we used to
worst.
go down there and sign everything, and they changed it all. Because that's the only one that deals with government stuff.
I want to make it one of the first things I did
Yeah.
as the acting ED,
But
like
yes, that's
4.5
what-
months ago, was
Do that.
submit the paperwork to be the authorized user on a credit card.
Mhm.
And it's just now getting done.
It takes a while.
No, I mean,
Wow, and
this
we
is
thought
just
the
like
federal
a
government was
recurring
slow.
issue. We are also like not being good stewards of our funds
Yeah.
insofar as we're not getting any kind of
No
real
interest.
interest.
No, there's
And we
no
hold balances.
interest there.
Like, we really need, I know it's a pain in the butt, and we could, we don't necessarily have to change 100%, but we could keep the majority of the funds in a place where we're gonna earn better interest. Like, I would
Yeah,
strongly
these are things we
recommend.
need to come back like,
Yes.
and maybe with our
Yeah.
priorities,
Yes.
I think we all should come back with like 3 of our top priorities or something and
That's a great
talk
idea.
about those kinds of things.
Next month, be like,
Yeah.
what are your
It'd be
top
good
3
to
things?
Yeah.
switch backs.
My-
And slowly phase this one out.
My question as we lead into this question of who is going to be the signers and all that stuff. One thing that we occasionally run into is if a check needs to get cut mid-month, pay an invoice or whatever, sometimes I have to run out and collect signatures from people. So I don't know what the board thinks about who should be signers or whatever. Obviously, Annalise being, able to sign checks is very helpful when she's in the office. But there's been times in the past where, I've had to like literally drive out to Doug and then drive out to Matt. And so I don't know if there's a way to make that process easier. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
Doesn't have to be the chair or the board. I mean, the treasurer has to have some roles, but a signer could be any director. However, I'm probably the closest one.
Mhm,
I live right there.
mhm.
They say, don't you
So-
kind of drive by my office on?
It was either,
yeah.
it was either
Yeah.
the chairman or treasurer
Yeah.
Doesn't
signed
have
the
to be.
checks,
Doesn't have to be though. It could be any handy director.
but it was always 2 signatures on any check. But Annalise, when she's back here, she's 1 signature.
Yeah.
And I know last time
Second one.
when Jamie was here, you guys wanted him to sign checks. I don't know if you want them to sign checks.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that, what the rationale for having.
If you're doing it,
Annalise
might as well
rather
do
than
it.
Cutting it shouldn't sign it. Whoever's
Yeah.
writing them should
Yeah.
not sign it. So
Gotcha.
Annalise
Okay,
is
so
writing
he's
them,
the
she
one
should not be
cutting it.
signing them.
So
If you are
she's signing
producing
it.
them, you
Gotcha.
should not. be
And that was
signing
kind of my thought is like, you probably shouldn't have 2 employees.
Right.
Like, even if we were both able to sign checks, there should be some policy in
Well,
place
one-
that you can't have.
Well, 1 employee.
them. You're reducing the opportunity to be in cahoots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
On thievery, so.
Yeah.
All right, so do somebody make a motion for. something that makes
Okay,
sense.
so I make a motion to remove Doug and Matt from the account and add Becky and Kelly.
We need roles. Kelly Like,
I make a motion
you
to
can sign,
remove Doug Gronath and, Matt Hale, sorry, my brain just like blanked. And to add, Chair Becky Hedinga or Rebecca Weaver or fill in whatever appropriate legal name is on your ID. And Kelly Gower.
okay,
Treasurer.
so there's no difference in role or anything, you can manipulate the accounts, access the accounts, but you're a signer, I'm a signer.
Yeah.
I could get into the accounts if I wanted to, okay, good. Support for that?
Makes sense.
Are you gonna put him on and take Ian Lease off or?
Not if he's cutting the checks.
No, I think we can leave that as is unless.
Okay.
Let's make a
Somebody has a
motion to
compelling
remove Doug and Matt.
And that's easy. I just learned.
Because Ian Lease,
It's
it's either checking account. You just can't-
Sierra had just left it. I was like,
Good for you. Yeah, whoever
You can
creates
ask
the
for
checks
that.
needs to not.
That's good.
Yeah, I do think it's important for a second person to be able to have visibility on that savings account.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
think
the
so,
Chase
too.
policy? Chase,
That
does?
was just, this is like, from day one I started here, it's always been that way. I don't know if it's,
Or because the
I,
district.
I can inquire. into that.
I have no idea on that one.
Because like,
And my
It would be
understanding is
good
we
to
could
have.
just then, we could do this, submit this letter, get you guys on the accounts,
Yeah.
and then if there's a follow-up to that,
Yeah.
to have them as viewers or whatever.
I kind of think Matt could see it, he just never set it up.
He doesn't even check his email.
I mean, because usually, because like you're
Talk
an
about-
independent bank, which I don't.
Wait,
think
just-
is another big
Check it out by
deposit
text.
bank.
Yeah.
Like even Triple
I don't
P
want
is
money.
able to be added as a viewer on our
Yeah.
account
Yeah.
as our accounting services to look at our accounts.
Becky, I gotta get up early. Can we?
Yep,
Snap it.
yeah, let's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Alright.
let,
You're driving to Iowa
Absolutely.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
The far side.
Okay, so we're removing Doug, Matt, adding you two.
yeah.
Right now I have a motion. I don't have.
Yeah, we
support.
have a motion, Rick
I
made it,
supported
Okay,
Okay,
Doug.
Tim supported.
all in favor? Aye.
Or it's financial, so we need.
It's
to
not
roll.
money,
Oh.
we're not doing money, we're just doing authorization, but we can do a roll call if you want. Yeah,
it. Sure.
Kelly, yes, Rivka,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes,
me, yes.
Done.
who's signing these checks?
You're still the
Good.
authorized.
Well, so that was.
No, I signed them, we
Yeah,
need a second one.
That was
I think
the
she's up on
next,
screen.
that was the next thing I wanted to ask before we move on. So I have a tentative plan we have two options. I can pretty easily text with Annalise. We can figure out a day in the next couple days where I can run up there, meet her halfway, whatever, get her to sign those checks. That's fine. We can do that. The other option is, and that one's sounding easier, but the other option is Matt is still on the accounts. I'm gonna see him Friday at the tree sale.
I
Could
don't
we
think
have
that's
him?
Legal, cause he's not a board member.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I think we need to go with that.
Okay. all good. Yeah, all right.
Okay, so tree and plant sale, very quick update, because I know that board members have contributed a lot of time, we don't want to diminish the
Yeah.
end of the agenda, but.
Tree sales Friday, we've sold about 10,000 trees so far. We got a couple thousand left that we gotta sell. Day of, I think we'll get some trees sold, but yeah, we're doing very, very good. Happy with the way it's going, and that'll be Friday. So
Good.
that's that.
Good deal. Thanks everyone
Yep.
for all the tree sale work. Okay, office hours.
Office hours, this does not have to be decided now, obviously. I just wanted to pose an idea to you guys. I would love, and this is like several employees have mentioned this too, when you look at a lot of our neighboring districts, they are not open 5 days a week, the same hours as ours. I would love it if we could convert Fridays to a appointment only. Everybody is out of, that's half of our staff are gone that day anyways, or working from home or out in the field that day. It's just really hard to keep that door open all day. And I think if we, we're open Monday through Thursday and then had Friday as a open by appointment only, that would be great. It would help us out.
I make a motion. Is that appropriate here? Becky,
Sure,
to
if you
make
like
a
to.
motion to make Friday office hours by appointment only.
Support. Discussion. Tabling is an option if anybody is uncomfortable and needs to.
My question is, why isn't there nobody here?
The HWA and all the SISMA people work 410s. Friday's also a field day for a lot of people. So that's just a day a lot of people are out on site visits and you know, whatever we're doing in the field. So it's hard to keep somebody staffed in that office. And then also two of our employees, three of them actually are over in the NRCS office. That's where they're based out of too. So,
Or we're over hours for the week.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a big one. A lot of us work a lot of hours, events, whatever, and then by Friday, you've only got 2-3 hours left. Sometimes, you know, especially like when people have 2 hours left in the week, they might, you know, request to work from home that day because why drive 45 minutes to be in an office where you're gonna be there for 2 hours?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's inefficient.
Yeah, that makes sense. I
That's a
kind of
big
forgot
one
about
right
that
there.
part of it.
yep, that happens very frequently.
Any additional discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Right.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Awesome.
Friday's by appointment only. 8 to 4:30 otherwise, 8 to 4:30.
8 to 4:30, yeah.
All right, very good. What's next? A quick cover of the grants, anything we haven't hit on? And
Not really. The grant world, we're still waiting on a couple of, still waiting on NACD. We wrote a couple for, you know, again, consumers and then the Build Strong TC Energy. Other than that, it's a lot of grants that we've, had been on this list or, yeah, nothing super new. We did get, the one big one, is we did get the MDARD Regenerative Farmer Network grant, in collaboration with a 5-person farmer network, led by, Kyle Rash, and a few of his farmer neighbors. So that is mostly going to be, you know, outreach, workshops, regen ag practices and cost share that's going to go to those farmers. But then a portion of that will be kind of admin, some of the TA and outreach education for the district too. We're only a small part of that budget. We are the fiduciary of that grant. So we essentially get an indirect and an admin portion of that. But they're going to be doing a lot of the work. It's a group of 5 farmers that are going to be doing some regen ag practices and essentially applying to us for that cost share. So cool grant. It was the first time they ever released that. And they're hoping to do it annually after this. So should be one of those that we can string together. Next year we'll apply again and again the year after that. So
Is there a list of names of who's participating in that?
yeah, we can get that.
In a map?
Yeah. So we are just the fiduciary of this too. So,
Yeah, they pretty much wrote the grant. I think it's a
Yeah.
group of apple producers
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And I think in the future too, this grant, we can apply for multiple groups, I think.
Yes.
So it could be other farmers. We don't have to only apply for one.
Questions on any of the grants that are going on right now? Cover? That is good. Okay. So the last item is 2-minute updates from board members. Does anybody have anything they'd like to go around and share with the group?
Look forward to
Been pretty
serving for
quiet.
another 4 years with y'all.
I have a few things, if I may.
Of course, this is your 2 minutes to shine.
Kelly, welcome to the board.
Thank you.
It's good to be here.
Elections have consequences. As the lone farmer left on this board, I have a concern. I've shared it with you. This board historically has always been farmer run or common people. I appreciate the expertise brought. But I'm going to challenge you. If we want to support farmers and be farmer focused and help farmers, we're a dying breed. We need more of them on this board. If not a farmer, at least somebody attached to the farm world. So my challenge to you board members tonight, serve out your term, but let's put language in our policy that at least 3 members on this board are farmer oriented. And if that's a vegetable plot type farmer, I'm okay with that. We speak the same language. We're on different scales, but we speak the same language. Farmers historically do not participate with these programs. You all know that. There's a reason for that. We're independent. We're gonna go our own way. So to invite them in, you have to speak their language. I've tried to do that to the best of my ability. I get it. But if you people think that eliminating frog bit is gonna save the world and feed the world, you're sadly mistaken. The backbone of America is, was, and will remain agriculture. We are the ultimate conservationists. We own and deal with the multitude of the land. Forgive it, excuse me, I get nervous. So if I'm the last guy, I want to resign too. We have to get back in sync. Okay.
I appreciate those comments, and you have been a great
Lester
ambassador.
told me years ago, he sat on this board for years, and I appreciate the man. You can think of him what you want. He had the dedication, the commitment, and the drive. Some say it was self-serving. Let that lay. The man's gone. He can't defend himself. To come here every month, voice his opinion, try to push it forward. And he told me more than once, Timmy said I had to get off the board because I was a trustee for the Talmadge Township. And he said, I felt that was a conflict of interest. I asked Becky about it. It is not in our policy. But you people being as employees or involved with other government spheres, I personally think that's a little bit of a conflict of interest. So I appreciate the knowledge. You guys bring a ton of knowledge. Farmers are not up to date with a lot of that stuff. I'll be the first to admit. So we need that input. So to me, it's got to be but I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to encourage you to get more farmers on this board. That's all I have to say.
Well, I'm glad that you shared with me directly and then shared in this open forum all of your thoughts, because you are an amazing ambassador and farmers are.
I'm not special.
And you're a straight shooter. So I appreciate
I'll just tell you exactly what I'm thinking.
that. We know.
And I know that offends people, and I'm okay with that. I've learned to grow over that. I just drive through the countryside on the way to this meeting, and I see so much erosion. I see so many things that need to change. Ben, you see it. I try to preach it. I try to practice it. I'm not perfect. But I get in farm world, and they got this to NRCS, to USDA, to the conservation district, to you name it. They're not interested. And I say, why?
And they say,
They don't tell you, but I'm telling you, we're independent.
Yeah.
You say we're non-regulatory. True. But when you gather data about people, on people's farms, that's a freaking red light, folks. I'm telling you, it's a red light. So I'm not.
Future conversation about associate board members?
well, exactly, Ben. I was
Yeah,
just gonna go there and
absolutely.
say, that's where it's really important that the farmers do the natural resources assessment. That's what drives the work we do. So get in there and weigh in on it.
They don't
Tell us-
want your assessment.
Well, if they care about the district and how it's driven in the work it does, that is an opportunity. Whether they care or not, that's an opportunity. Getting associate members on the board and recruitment to get more farmers on the board is the way. You cannot do it through policy like we discussed. It's illegal. You can't do it that way. And we talked
But
about that.
Becky, I want to stop you a minute. A little farmer like me, and I'm going to use my friend Matt Hale, will never, ever be able to run a campaign like you folks ran and get on the board. I'm just telling you that. So there has to be a different way.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. It was a good campaign and we do need farmers on the board, but I will tell you that Kelly and I work closely in agriculture every day. We're not farmers, but we are very ag adjacent.
You're connected, but you're not in the same camp.
No, and I'm not saying we are. You said somewhere close to agriculture and we both are. We have been
No,
for years.
I think of somebody close to agriculture is somebody that A, grew up on a farm,
Mhm.
B, is farming part-time.
Mhm.
Who was the guy that was your grower of the year? farms,
John Barron's.
John Barron. Put them kind of people on this board.
So, yeah, we have to recruit and get people to run. And we can take on associate board
When
members.
I got involved with the conservation district, it was
that's-
all farmers and Doug.
I think having associate board members would be a fantastic solution to that.
Yeah, I mean, I know Becky said next month, but definitely that would be on
Yeah.
my top three.
I'd love
List
it.
is associate board members, because that's
Associate
an
board
immediate
members.
way.
What's an associate board member?
They come and participate in every way except for vote. They're involved, they volunteer,
They're not
they give
coming.
their opinion.
Farmers my size and caliber are not coming to.
Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't say they're not gonna run and win, and you can't say they're not gonna come and do this. You can't say they're not gonna do their natural resource assessment and then complain that they're not here at the table. I mean, there's no solving
We
that.
struggled to get somebody to run. Jeff was the best candidate we could come up with.
Mhm.
He at least grew up on a farm. He understands farming. So guys, please believe us. We can't hold a candle to a machine. So I'm not bitter. I'm just expressing my opinion.
I appreciate that.
On the staff end of things, I can promise you, every time we write a grant, we do our absolute best to get as much money for farmers as we possibly can. Whether there's one person on the board or 5 farmers on the board, farming is still a majority focus of all of the work we do, and that is gonna continue well into the future. So that's, again, I know that's not exactly what you're talking about, but that's just what we're doing as staff. We are trying to get as much money into Ottawa County for farmers as we can, and that's gonna continue.
Okay.
So.
One more thing, while we're talking about elections. To me, the official website of the Conservation District should not be a campaign vehicle. That make sense?
No, because it was not.
Was not?
It was not.
I'm not a techie.
I know, I
My-
can see how it might.
My
appear that
daughter
way.
posted for
Mhm.
Matt.
Yep.
And for Jeff,
Yep, I saw it and I liked the post.
and Rivka attached on that. We can't kick her off.
You could, actually. Because it was their Facebook page. So totally can delete my
It
comment
was
anytime they want.
Rivka, just take it this way. In farm world, we say it don't pass the smell test. And you take that out of comment as you want.
So our website and our Facebook page never posted anything related to elections. Now,
I
what,
didn't, but it's tagged on.
yeah, but we can't control what other people, if
So just
somebody
shut it down
wants
for a
to, yeah, I just, with our.
You gotta be able to share about the election as a whole, and then we also had other sales going on.
You know where
too.
I'm coming from, Becky.
I do.
I think it'll get real dirty next time.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't control how
Unfortunately.
other people use our Facebook posts.
It's just the way it's gonna be.
Thank you.
I don't like the insinuation that it was dirty this time, quite
It
frankly.
wasn't.
Well, I'm
It's not
you
dirty.
know how.
It
everybody
doesn't
was
smell, it
attacked.
doesn't pass the smell test. That's just so I'm gonna leave it. From a farmer perspective,
It's campaigning.
Yeah.
we won't win. So if you don't want no farmers on, just keep doing what we're doing and there will be none.
Has nothing to do with farmers.
No,
It has to do with how the
everyone.
board was led and how we are interacting and what the district needs to grow and thrive in terms of leadership. And it was nothing personal. And it's nothing against farmers. I mean, there's just way more being read into this than what really exists. to
You
me.
need to go talk to the former board members. They won't come back. Matt included. I'm over my 2 minutes, so. My move to adjourn if anybody else might answer somebody else.
Anybody else would like to share and use their 2 minutes?
I'm good. I'm being a good boy today.
Rivka?
Oh, I said my piece. It's just that I'm looking forward to serving. And excited to represent the interests of Ottawa County.
Kelly, you got anything? My only comments that I was gonna share is I just was kind of recognizing that I have the good fortune of, in my regular work life, of interacting with a lot of the staff, just with the work that I do. So that brings me closer to a lot of the projects that the district's involved in. And I need to, remember that and leverage that as a board member, you know, and help the district as much as I can. I mean, everyone in this room, I communicate with or sit on a committee with or something in the part of my regular job. And I think that's pretty cool and I'm pretty fortunate and I need to leverage that in a better way. The Region 7 annual meeting, will be in August or September. And I also wondered how many responses do we have for the CNA? Do we know how many of those are? You don't have to look it up. I just,
Last I checked, we had like over 70, so we're getting,
over 70.
yeah.
Yeah. we'll
Pretty
get
decent.
that.
I think last time we only had like 300 in total and it was open, and so we plan on having this open until September, so we're gonna
Yeah,
be doing a
having it
lot of.
open and getting engagement. Like I'd love to have more farmer engagement and more broad engagement. I mean, parks, they paid some, oh my gosh, they had 6,000
Yeah.
Ottawa County residents respond.
We're getting into like workshop and event season too, and
Yeah.
we're obviously gonna.
I
Well, we haven't
stuck that
since,
QR in all the commissioner boxes. I passed it out to.
I mentioned it at the groundwater board meeting and the full,
Yeah.
so.
Do you have like a flyer or something?
Not necessarily yet. We haven't done a ton of outreach and creating since the board meeting, just because we've been still finishing up getting tree sales and all that, but that's definitely something that we're planning on doing a lot more outreach for here very soon.
Yeah, because we have a bunch of.
And we're gonna have stuff, we've had stuff at events too, we have that QR
That'd be
code,
great.
we'll have it on Friday at the tree sale and all that too.
Yeah,
Parks
that's all
are
I
not
have.
a friend of agriculture.
In what way?
Just telling you the perception in the neighborhood.
We can do like a workshop and try to figure out and fill up some of these gaps, and we can try to approach and solve this problem rather than just saying this is how it is and it's never gonna change. I'm open to whatever.
I am too. I've been
Okay.
preaching it.
Yeah, all right, well, let's maybe look at it from a more positive light and see if there's a way we can tackle it different. I would like that, so. Yeah, that's all I have. Too late, you already passed your turn. Scott,
No, I mean, from the past, I think you should have a finance committee. I don't know about the HR, but I really think you should do that because when we stopped that, I don't know when we stopped, but when we stopped it, it didn't bring all the information that we needed for the finance.
yeah, I'm open to that and bring that as, if that's one of your priorities, bring that next month because I'm just continuing to operate on those committees were paused. And we actually don't have anything in policy that indicates how those committees are to be set and appointed, quite frankly, and there's nothing in statutes. We have no guiding documents on that. And I'm fine with setting those up again. Let's bring that in May.
HR, I don't know about because that can be from then and then if they got something to come to you. But finance, I think you guys that because
Yeah.
it helps and it puts them and least with you guys.
Yep.
It does help a lot.
Yeah, I think that would
That's my 2 cents.
make sense. And you know, you and Kelly could be on it and then you could share your knowledge and information. And so let's talk about that in May.
The board members, not 3.
Right. I don't need to be on it. You and Kelly, that's.
Oh,
Unless we have associates.
that's up to you then.
Yeah, we can talk about that in May. I think that's a good thing to bring up. I'm not opposed to that, restarting those. Yeah, they were just paused for conflict's sake. So.
Yeah.
All right, is there anything else for the good of the order? All right. Well, this meeting is adjourned.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, Brenda, the name is.
Okay, have a good night.
Mm.
Thank
Have a good